Safeco Field. That is our location and the location where Scott is.
Well, holy smoke, I thought was about to describe what we're going to hear. Before Mark Loazo left us, I said, Mark, how loud is this going to be at our location? And he says, do you have a good imagination? I said, yeah, we do. And he says, not good enough.
I asked him if it was as loud as a stock car race, which I've attended, and that's very, very loud. And I think he intimates it's probably louder than that. So the earplugs might be needed today.
Right, we've got one earplug here, as you can see. We've got the perfect gloves because we have the motion of our fingers, but the hands are warm. And if we can, just sneak a word in with Bob Collier, who runs all of Paul Allen's building projects. Mr. Collier, thanks for joining us up here. Now, you're the vice president of First and Goal, which is the building part of this building. Tell us what we're going to see in the new dome that we don't have in the old one.
Well, first off, you're going to see real grass in the new stadium. You're going to see a lot more concession stands. You're going to see a lot more restrooms. The fan amenities are just going to be a lot better, a lot more modern. I think it'll be a lot of fun for the fans.
It's an outdoor stadium. People, though, who've been used to the Kingdome for years are going to wonder in the late October, November, December, in all the rain we get, will I, as a football fan, get wet?
Well, about 70% of the fans in the new stadium will be covered. There will be two large roofs, one over each side of the stands, kind of similar to Husky Stadium. And, I think people familiar with Husky Stadium, you probably have about another 20% of the fans covered than over there. So, yeah, some people will get wet, but football's meant to be played outdoors.
And the Seahawks are about to get more familiar with Husky Stadium because that's where the team's going to play for a while.
Yeah, we play there the next 2 years, and that'll be pretty exciting because that's a wonderful stadium as well.
Now, you've been here a long time, Bob. Is there a part of you that says, as you look at the dome this morning, gosh, I'll miss it?
Well, yeah, there is. In fact, I go back a long ways when they were first. The dome was out for bid in the 70s. I was working for a construction company, pretty fresh out of college, and did a lot of work on the estimate for this dome. And so, there's a lot of memories from then and through now, and a lot of games, a lot of events. I bought a boat here, about 15 years ago. So yeah, this morning I was feeling a little, mixed emotions, excitement, at the same time pretty sad.
Yeah,
too late to have second thoughts about what to do with the dome.
No second thoughts.
You got about an hour left, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob Collier, Vice
Bob.
President of First and Goal, Paul Allen's construction company, also has built the Experience Music Project, and we'll yak about that a little bit later.
Yeah, which is almost completed. New stadium completed end of July, year 2002.
All right.
Which will sit where the Kingdome is right now.
We're going to take a look up near Harborview, where Paul Sylvia and Margaret Allen are posted this morning.
Gene and Dennis, thanks so much. We're seeing lots of people showing up here now, the crowd really thickening up, and we're just watching people filter down onto the grassy areas here by I-5 and getting ready to have almost a parade-like view for the demolition. You can see the sun hitting the dome as well, and now we can really get a view of what a skeleton is left. I was inside the dome with Mark Loazo yesterday, and it is an unbelievably bizarre sight, just a moonscape with nothing but rubble inside, no seats, no anything at all, just a bulldozed road right through the middle of it. So the Kingdome is essentially gone. It's just a question of bringing down the ribs, and that's what these people have come to see. Paul's been talking to some of the people out here.
That's right. People have been here since 1 o'clock. We touched on that earlier. Here are two guys that have been here since 1, Chris and Gabe. Chris, you've seen the Kingdome. You're a young guy, but you've seen a lot of things in there. What's your favorite memory?
Well, my first baseball game was in the Kingdome, and all the Supercrosses, Larry Orr, Jeremy McGrath, all that. Loved it.
Supercross guy, huh? How about you, Gabe?
I'm not a Supercross guy. Plus, I got to see Griffey's first game here. It was amazing, but we don't want to talk about Griffey. No, but it's kind of an innovative area here. It's about the same age as I am. I hope they don't start blowing people up, 23 years.
Hey, so 1 o'clock, you prepared for this, right? You took a little afternoon nap, and you got up around what?
I don't know. I got up around 8 o'clock tonight, pretty much took a shower, came on down here with my buddies, got here about 1. Just hanging out ever since.
1 o'clock in the morning. Enjoy the show. Oh, it's going to be fun out here. We still got some time, plenty of people to talk to. We'll get back to that in just a minute. First, let's check in with Lori and Alan.
Hey, how you doing, Paul? Thanks for the toss. It's time to play. So you want to be a Kingdome t-shirt owner. Lori, show the folks here what we have. Well, we have some fine crystal stemware, too, for our participants.
Our semifinalists
right there.
will all get a beautiful King5 mug, and this is the grand prize.
That's a 24-ounce mug, and, of course, the Dome to Dust t-shirt. There you go.
There you go.
It's a beauty, and we're going to start right off. I want to introduce you over here to Kelly Humphreys and Debbie Halleck, our first contestants, and question number 1 in Who Wants to Be a Kingdome t-shirt owner today. Who drew the biggest crowd in Kingdome history? Evel Knievel, the Rolling Stones, Billy Graham, or the Seahawks versus the Raiders? You get the first answer.
Billy Graham.
And Kelly.
I would say Billy Graham.
Okay, now question number 2 from Lori Matsukawa.
College basketball, the college basketball, the NCAA Final Four has been held in the Kingdome once, twice, 3 times, or never.
Kelly.
I would say twice.
He says twice. And?
I agree with twice.
And she agrees. Okay, question number 3. He's a Hall of Fame pitcher with 7 no-hitters to his credit. He threw his last big league pitch in the Kingdome. Debbie. There's dramatic music going on. You've got 8 seconds. Pick one.
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson, and your answer.
Well, I remember being there, I believe.
Gotta have it now.
Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan it is, and there you go. Okay, there's our semifinal winner. And you were 2-2, and that was the winner. Put you over the top. Kelly Haddock wins the fine crystal stemware. There we go. And hopefully we'll have him back for more.
With our next semifinal round in a moment, and then we're going to have a final round. So this is very serious.
We hope we can get back to all this. We got about 600 people on the bridge now, and let's toss it back to you, Gene and Dennis. I think that's where we're going. We have a great crowd here. We'll be here all morning checking in.
And I have a clarification to the second question. 3 Final Fours in 1984, 1989, and the last one in 1995.
Dennis, we'll get you a coffee mug. That was very,
I'm
very
so
good.
happy.
Delightful.
You know, you've heard about How to Marry a Millionaire. How to marry a great brain. This guy's a great brain. He's got a lot of facts about the Kingdome that we're going to tell you in a few minutes.
Let's not push it. It's too early. Let's go to a break. We'll be back with more Dome to Dust. Stay right here.
Phil Wick started changing tires for Les Schwab over 30 years ago. Today, he's president.
I always remember what Les taught me. Treat our customers like you treat your mom and dad.
We did it then, we do it now. You come in, we come running. Everything we do backed in writing with the Les Schwab warranty.
It all adds up to providing value for the money our customers spend.
Les Schwab, over 300 stores built on a one-store promise.
And like Les says, if we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
When winter is at its worst, you'll find the Lexus RX 300 at its best. Because with 220 horsepower and four-wheel drive, it can always get around, which could be the difference between your having a normal life this winter and no life. The four-wheel drive RX 300 at your Puget Sound Lexus dealer.
This is it. It's happening now. After years in the furniture business, American Oak Warehouse has closed in Kent and Tacoma. Every item in American Oak's $1 million inventory was acquired and must be liquidated immediately. Now is the time to buy quality furniture at liquidation prices. Save on sofas, home office, entertainment centers, lamps, mattresses, dining room, bedroom, and accessories. It will all be sold to the bare walls at liquidation prices. Hurry, it's a complete liquidation of the American Oak Warehouse inventory in Kent and Tacoma. Everything must go.
What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. Look for our spring home sale going on now.
Those of you who are usually up at this time of the morning on Sunday are sharing the morning news with Susanna Frame, reading your morning newspaper. Do you ever think that you'd be at a party at 6:40 a.m. on Sunday?
Well, I think there's no excuse to miss church this morning because everybody's up and they're probably ready. It's just whether they're ready for church this morning, I don't know.
Alyssa Hahn is not at church. She's at Occidental and King near FX McCrory's. Alyssa.
I mean, we're at the northwest corner of the Kingdome lot. You can see the Kingdome in all of its glory stripped down right behind us. Over to the right here, which is really interesting, you can see they're putting the last finishing touches on the plastic tarp that is covering the Florentine condominiums. Great lengths have been taken to protect that condominium and that building from any kind of projectiles that may come across from this implosion. Of course, everyone has been evacuated out of there. Actually, will need to be out of that building by 7 o'clock. We've already seen a few folks come over to FX McCrory's. That's where they'll be having a private party here for those condominium owners and, of course, some special VIPs that have been invited to come in by Turner Construction and other members of the demolition crew. Over here to the front, you can see as Richard DeMartini keeps on panning around. That's where the public is being kept. That's where folks who do not have special passes will have to stay and stay back that far. But again, they still seem to have a pretty good view of the Kingdome from there. I'm Alyssa Hahn reporting live from the northwest corner of the Kingdome.
Thanks, Alyssa. That is a straight-on shot of the Kingdome. Those folks should get a pretty good view on it.
Indeed, and also a good view for the Kingdome explosion here on KING5 is from Sky King and our own Sky pilot, Jim Foreman. Jim, what do you see?
We see a little bit of fog drifting in off of Lake Washington, but so far it's staying away from the Kingdome. Shouldn't be a problem. If you have to get out and about anywhere through the Seattle area this morning, you might want to get out and do it now. In just about an hour, we're going to start to see the rolling slowdowns and the closures of 24 on-ramps and off-ramps along I-5 and I-90. This will last from 40 minutes before the implosion, scheduled for 8:30 to a half hour afterwards. There are also going to be those rolling slowdowns on the freeway system. The Alaska Way Viaduct also going to be shut down. A lot of folks have gotten here by boat. It's one of the beautiful places to watch the dome come down this morning, but can't beat where we are up here about 1,000 feet above the Kingdome on what is turning out to be a spectacularly gorgeous Sunday morning. I'm Jim Foreman live at Sky King. We'll keep you posted on the traffic throughout the morning. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Jim. Sunshine draped morning. Unbelievable.
Well, I don't know if you can hear the squeaking and the rolling behind us. A lot of rolling stock, scoopers, loaders, dumpers. I mean, I'd hate to think of what it would look like after an earthquake, but I mean, there's nothing left down here except earth-moving equipment and us. Your eye from Safeco Field here at KING5.
Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more Dome to Dust in just a couple of minutes. Stay right here.
Well, you know, my relationship was all right and everything else, but she kept getting jealous of me working on my cars. Every minute I had free, I was out playing with my car. And basically, I guess I kind of spent more time with the car than I did with her, but she comes home from work, I'm underneath there, legs sticking out of the front. Yeah, I'm fine. Like, no, dinner? I don't want dinner. That's fine. I'm all right. So, it finally came down between her or the car, and she kind of made the choice to go. So I guess I got stuck with the car, which is fine with me. Yeah. You know, I like my car anyways.
Right now, Fred Meyer is selling postage stamps for less than face value.
Wait, is that legal?
Just buy a Fred Meyer Stamp Savers book. You get 20 stamps, which cost you $6.60 at the post office, but only $5.94 at Fred Meyer.
That's not legal, is it?
Plus coupons on famous brands for valuable savings.
Does the Postmaster General know about this?
Actually, yes. The Stamp Savers book, in cooperation with the U.S. Postal Service. Only at Fred Meyer, while supplies last.
SavingYouMoney.com. Coupons for just about anything.
Direct from Broadway, Richard Chamberlain stars in the timeless love story, The Sound of Music, as you've never seen it before. Packed full of excitement, laughter, and music.
These are a few of my favorites.
Experience one of your favorite musicals live on stage.
Volvo Broadway at the Paramount presents The Sound of Music, April 11th through the 23rd. Tickets are on sale now. Call 206-292-ARTS.
The Phantom of the Opera, now at the Fifth Avenue Theater through April 29th. Tickets available at the box office or call 292-ARTS.
So, how much dynamite does it take to take down a Kingdome? 4,461 pounds of dynamite. stuck in 5,905 holes drilled all around the Kingdome.
You've
That's
been
what will
staying up
take it
late,
down.
haven't you?
Someone gave me those figures, and they sound impressive.
You know what sounds really impressive to me right now? I don't know what it's like at your house at 6:45 in the morning, but a bathtub filled with hot cocoa sounds really good to me right now. From his perch high above Seattle in the Space Needle, we join King5's Jeff Gradney. Jeff, party time up there, huh? Can't hear him. Can't hear him. All right, I guess we couldn't hear Jeff Gradney, and neither could you.
Right now.
We're also we're checking in with the high flyers at this hour of the morning. Is Linda Brill at the Bank of America, formerly known as Columbia Tower Club? She's there, and she'll be with us in just a few minutes. We are, again, at left field, not out in left field, but in left field at Safeco Field, about a block away from the Kingdome. And Bob Collier from First and Goal told us the wind, or that was Mark Loiseau from Controlled Demolition, told us the wind is a little bit from the southeast, in which case the dust would blow the other way. So our picture from here should be very, very clear this morning when the dome blows about an hour from now, and some.
And when the dome blows, it will generate lots of dust. In about a 350 to 500 yard perimeter around the dome, it will lay about a quarter inch to a half inch of dust, and then beyond that, just a fine mist that should stay in the air between 5 and 15 minutes. So that's how much dust it generates, and that's one of the reasons why they keep people so far back. And we've talked about the heavy machinery that has been working around the dome moved out of the way. That machinery will be working full bore. They'll get into high gear once the dome comes down to start cleaning the streets.
I know during the morning every one of you probably has your own favorite dome moment, and it occurs to me that my career here at King5 is just about paralleled the building of the Kingdome, so I'll be sharing everything from Billy Graham to Madonna and other things that we all think are our favorite moments of the dome as the morning continues.
And the legal wrangling around the dome as well. When you think about the dome, it is one of the most unique buildings on the skyline, as well as the Space Needle. And that's where we have King5's Jeff Gradney, and we have reestablished contact with Mr. Gradney. Jeff.
Absolutely. You can probably hear me now. And that's an interesting point, Gene and Dennis. I mean, we're watching what will be the destruction of one of Seattle's, landmarks here from another of Seattle's landmarks. Kind of an irony there, but this has got to be one of the best vantage points from which to watch this, because the good observation is here, the weather's beautiful, you'll be able to see it. You can see it right there in the shadow of Mount Rainier, and from here, no dust. You got to enjoy that, and there'll be a lot of people up here who will be enjoying this, because in fact in about 45 minutes we'll have a private party that'll be congregating up here, and it's about 50 people or so that'll be here, some local radio contest winners, a lot of people having a good time, having a very interesting breakfast, and this will be the place from which to see this. Reporting live from the Space Needle, I'm Jeff Gradney. Back to you, Gene and Dennis.
Thank you, Jeff. And in fact, you could put the Space Needle inside the Kingdome and let it spin around.
Yeah.
The Kingdome is that big inside.
I remember when the Space Needle was built, and people said, this is an ugly building. How did this ever happen to Seattle? And when the dome was built, people said, this is an ugly building, and how did this ever happen? And when you think back now, sort of nostalgically, people really like the Space Needle, and they really do have a fondness for the Kingdome, even as these buildings do look a little strange to us.
And the people, there's a vast majority of people who do not want to see the Kingdome go down. And a lot of them won't be watching this morning because this is a sad moment, a very nostalgic moment for them.
Well, we're going to tell you about some of our favorite moments from the Kingdome as the show continues. Right now we want to take a break, and we'll be right back. You're watching the Kingdome implosion on King5.
In every craft single filled with such fun, The Dairy Fairy puts the yum in calcium.
2 out of 3 kids don't get the recommended amount of calcium. Happily, Kraft Singles provide calcium kids love.
For the happiest children, trust the Dairy Fairy so fine, who makes every Kraft single utterly divine.
Kraft Singles. Magic every single time.
Pika, Pikachu.
Hold your head even higher and into the fire we go.
Bloodshed. Betrayal. Beheading. Lots of laughs. The Scarlet Pimpernel.
Volvo Broadway at the Paramount presents the Scarlet Pimpernel. Call 202-292-ARTS.
Top Food and Drug asks, what does quality mean to you? To us, it means carefully selecting all our fruits and vegetables for peak freshness and flavor. We pay this kind of attention to quality in every department at Top. So that by choosing Top, you're not only saving money, you're picking the best. Top Food and Drug. Quality in the bag, savings in the bill.
Welcome back to the Kingdome from our perch here in Safeco Field, about a block away, just a block south of the dome that's going to blow in about an hour and 39 minutes, as you can see in our King5 countdown clock.
We have a very good vantage point, but the highest vantage point in town is at what used to be called the Columbia Tower, now the Bank of America building, and King5's Linda Brill is there live. Linda.
Somebody had to get it, and it was me. I lucked out. A party is being planned here. It starts in about 10 minutes. We're 75 stories up, and a very upscale party is about to begin. It's kind of a morning for mimosas and Bloody Marys and Kingdome memories. Take a look around the room here at the Tower Club. Very fancy. They're expecting a huge crowd, like most of the parties that are going on in downtown Seattle in office buildings, with a great view of the Kingdome. They even have risers set up here for people to get even a better view of the dome when it blows. We are so high up that we can see Sky King. We see Jim Foreman and Mark, the pilot, circling around. We can make eye contact with them. So we're very high up. We're expecting some very powerful entertainment. We'll keep you posted. Gene, Dennis?
Ken Jones's camera here with us at Safeco Field. And from our perch here at Safeco, we can see the Columbia Tower Club, now called the Bank America Tower Club. So don't party too hard, Linda, because we're watching you right here at Safeco Field.
For the folks there at the Tower Club, weather is no factor, but for many folks outside and for the construction people who are taking down the dome, weather is a factor. Let's go to Jeff Renner with a dome to dust weather update.
Good morning. A little while ago, I was conferring with some of the people at CDI about the weather. Here's a look at our Seattle Tower Cam, and it is a gorgeous view. Notice visibility is dropping a little bit. What we need are some winds to help mix things up. Now, there's a quick check of radar. Actually, that's just some fog droplets there. But if we take a look at our first alert school net at the Science Center, we'll see winds have gone flat calm. And that could allow some of that fog to begin to develop. A quick check of the situation. We see high pressure that moved in. And as that continued to move into the area, that started giving us a drier offshore flow. And that is what's allowing us to have dry weather, fairly light winds, but also the potential for some fog, which we've had over the Lake Washington area. As the day goes on, though, we're going to warm up nicely into the mid to upper 50s. But right now, I'd have to say there is an even chance of at least some patchy light fog moving into the area. But as long as we keep it at bay, probably about another half hour, we should be in good shape. And of course, we all want good visibility to see this big event. Dennis and Jean, back to you.
Okay, Jeff, thanks much. We're going to take a short break, pay some bills, and back with more Dome to Dust in just a few minutes.
All right, we've got a press briefing coming up, so stay tuned because we'll bring it right to you.
So sorry, honey.
You are now free to move about the country.
Chevy Silverado has the most powerful V8 of any 4x4 pickup. That's more powerful than Ford. That's more powerful than Dodge. That's why it's the truck. Silverado from Chevy.
Get 3.9% APR financing from GMAC for 36 months for average finance savings of up to $1,578.
For some of us, it's leaving for work at 8:45 instead of 8:16. Or spending a bit more time looking at clouds than our computers. Or maybe it's the day we decide to have a second cup of coffee. When it happens, you'll know. The only thing you won't know is what comes next. That's where we come in. At Del Webb, we've created a place called Sun City, where you can retire from work, not life. So whether you enjoy the prairie sun, the coastal sun, or the desert sun, chances are there's a Sun City in a place you want to be. Live the life you want. Be the person you want to be. The Sun City Communities by Del Webb. Live on.
All right, you're about to listen to a press briefing. Sheila Australia, the fire department, cluing people in as to what their activity is. They've got a command center set up. They've got all available resources at their disposal. And we're about to hear from the Department of Transportation about some road closures.
But again, I've heard
Here's
no problems
Sheila
in terms
Australia,
of out
fire
on the street
department.
today, or with any of the operations issues going on. I do have Claudia Cornish here from Washington State Department of Transportation. If you have no more questions of me, I'll put her on. Scott? At this point, there is no set line, Scott. What Scott asked about was the perimeter for people within the zone, within the restricted area. What we're doing is that's going to be moved around as it's needed to be. So basically, we're still saying there's a restricted area between 7th, Holgate, Alaskan Way, and Yesler. It is possible that people within that area will need to be moved for safety reasons. I don't have a schedule of that. It will depend on the situation whether they need to be moved. Yes, we've seen that. Well, I think it's a nice weather day, so that's going to bring people out, and that's not a surprise. That's why we have our extra resources out today. I think probably more people could have come, or would have come, I should say, had they not listened to the advice this week that you all have been kind enough to give them. And I still think that advice holds true. I mean, streets are blocked in the area. It is congested. It is a good idea to stay away from the restricted area if you possibly can. And the best angles of this implosion are going to be on television. There's several cameras. You guys have been touting that all morning. The best view is at home on television. We still say that. All right, Claudia Cornish is coming forward now from Washington State Department of Transportation.
All right, you were just listening to Sheila Australia, the fire department, saying from their point of view it's all clear, everything's going just fine, and she was answering some of Scott Miller's questions about people hiding under manhole covers or masquerading as bushes to try and get closer to the implosion. And she says the place has been swept, it's clear, and the perimeter area of 7th and Holgate in Alaska is confirmed, and they've cleaned it all out.
And the fire department has given its thumbs up, so far all things are go for an 8:30 implosion of the Kingdome. Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more Dome to Dust coming up in just a few moments. Stay with us on King 5.
It's big, it's wild, and it's headed your way. It's Ford Truck Month, and with thousands of vehicles in stock, you can save big on the best-selling trucks in the Northwest. Get $500 cash back or low 3.9 financing on selected F-150s. That's $500 cash back or get low 3.9 financing and save $3,200 in interest. And check out the all-new F-150 Super Crew. Get big savings and huge selection during Ford Truck Month at your Northwest Ford store.
You gotta swing in the spring, put some zing in your spring. Spring is here and you're shopping at Ross. The best brands are here, price beyond compare. Don't go anywhere till you're shopping at Ross. place. There's a smile on your face when you're shopping at Ross.
Save up to 65% on the top brands every day.
There's always something new when you're shopping at Ross. Yeah.
My pleasure, happy campers. Washington apples, just the thing.
I'm not going to become one of those old men who sit in lawn chairs on driveways and regret adventures I never took.
Sharing the Wealth, an exclusive half hour tonight at 8.
Demolition Day for the Kingdome. From dome to dust, this is King5 News special coverage of the Kingdome implosion. Now from our live location at Safeco Field, Gene Anderson and Dennis Bounds.
Welcome back to King5's coverage of the Kingdome implosion. We're at Safeco Field, about a block south of the Kingdome, and the dome's set to implode. That's to blow down, not blow up, a little more than an hour from now.
And everything's set to go. All systems are go. The fire department has said that they believe everything will go off on schedule, and the Department of Transportation is saying that they're keeping their timetable as well. At 7:50, in about 50 minutes, they will start rolling slowdowns on I-5, on westbound 520, and on westbound Interstate 90, and that's all according to schedule. Let's go to King5's Lori Matsukawa and Alan Schaffler. They're at the Jose Rizal Bridge, where a lot of people have gathered right now.
There sure are a lot of people here, Dennis, and I'll tell you, this is round 2 of our game, Who Wants to Be the Owner of a Kingdome Implosion t-shirt.
Huge prizes here.
For playing, our contestants get a free King5 mug.
Everybody say, ooh, ooh.
And of course, the finalists will battle for the honor of owning one of these King5 Implosion t-shirts. All right,
here we go. We now have Carl Hafner from Walla Walla and Aaron Taylor all the way from Vancouver, Portland area. They have been held off stage in a soundproof booth. Now ready to play Who Wants to Win a Kingdome t-shirt. Question number 1, this is for Aaron. What pro football player holds the single game rushing record in the Dome? Is it Kurt Warner, Bo Jackson, O.J. Simpson, or Dan Dornick?
I don't want to say O.J. I'll say Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner, and your answer?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson is correct. That's round 1. Question number 2.
All right, what is the area of the roof? How many acres does the Kingdome roof cover? 5.5 acres, 6.25 acres, or 7.45 acres?
5.5.
5.5, and your answer, sir?
Ooh, what was the last one?
Music's playing. We got 5 seconds.
7.45, 6.25,
I'd say
5.5.
5 point because it's not 7.
Both of you are wrong. The answer is 7.45.
Okay, and one final question. Total attendance at all Kingdome events 1976 to 2000. The options are 33 million, 73 million, 880 million, 1.25 billion. Aaron, you first.
The second one.
The second one was 73 million.
Third one, 80 whatever.
The third one, 880 million. The answer is actually 73 million. So we have a tie, and we need to go to our tiebreaker now. So here we go. Yeah, everybody say, ooh. People having fun out here. Here we go. The tie-breaking question is, you're going to whisper your answer in Lori's ear, you whisper in mine. Okay. Just the answer, nothing else, please. The Kingdome contains roughly how many cubic feet of air? The Kingdome, how many cubic feet of air? You've got 5 seconds. How many cubic feet of air? How many cubic feet of air? Okay. How many cubic feet of air does the Kingdome hold? How many cubic feet of air?
1.3 million.
1.3 million from Carl. Aaron says 1 million. The actual answer is 68 million. So it is Mr. Carl Hafner who wins round 2. Congratulations. Favorite Kingdome memory?
Promise Keepers.
Promise keepers. It was several years, drew hundreds of thousands of people to the Dome in their years here. All right. Thank you, fellas. Very nice.
Who wants to be the owner of a Kingdome t-shirt? And we will have our final round coming up.
Coming up soon. It is a tremendous party atmosphere out here. People having a lot of fun on the bridge. You know, this is the place where we saw Joey cry and Mick sing and Junior blossom. It is going to be one heck of a morning.
Lots of people out here. We're having a good time. Back to you.
Back to you.
And remember that sign up, I believe it's down right field, Older Women for Omar. That was my favorite sign at the Kingdome.
I think my favorite moment might have been one of those Mick Jagger moments. I thought, this is an old guy, and he's still got really bouncy legs. He's a great entertainer. And I think the Rolling Stones and Mick Jagger, their first concert in the Kingdome, not their second, was
they were
my
old
favorite
back then,
moment.
back in '81.
You know, in a way, Dennis, they've been old for a long time. All right, you were looking at hundreds of people lined up on the Jose Rizal Bridge going up to Beacon Hill, where Alan and Lori are broadcasting from. People have been finding their favorite perches throughout the evening. We saw mobile homes, trailer homes on West Seattle there last night before it got dark, so people were camped out there yesterday. On the Washington State ferries yesterday, I saw people searching out their favorite spot because they're going to take their boats out to the harbor this morning. John Curley's going to be out with the Argosy boat a little after 8, so we'll be out in the harbor for you too, right here on KING5.
We've already seen quite a few private boats in Elliott Bay. One of the other very good vantage points is up at Harborview Medical Center, where Margaret Larson and Paul Sylvia are reporting from.
Dennis and Jean, thank you so much. We missed the Bo Jackson question, but we were on with everything else, and we're convinced that Alan is way ahead of us on coffee intake, and that explains his expertise in all of this. We want to show you what's going on up here at Harborview. If you look over there, we are seeing just a photo gallery beginning to emerge. People with their tripods, their video cameras, doing narration of all of this. This is a great seat up on the grass here because there's really nothing in front of these folks, and we saw somebody with a huge Costco donut box go by, and I'm looking for that guy anytime now. And the coffee too. Paul's been talking to some of the folks who are here waiting for this thing to come down.
The donuts. Don't mention the donuts. I love the donuts.
Look good.
Keith Crockett and his son Jonathan are here now. These guys were in the Kingdome during a pretty memorable moment. Tell us about it, Keith.
Well, we'd gone to see the Mariners play the Cleveland Indians, and we were sitting there, and there were some kids doing the wave, some girls back on there. And they were kind of running all over the place. And then as we were sitting there, the bench started shaking sideways, and I thought, okay, they're trying to shake the bench now. And I go, well, wait a minute, this is concrete. And we just both looked up and looked at each other, and I thought, we're having an earthquake. And that was when Ken Griffey was going like this and telling everybody head for the hills. But we just kind of sat there, and there was no place to go from the third deck. And waited for the game to start again. Of course, it never did, so we just hung in there.
Definitely one of the more memorable moments in the Kingdome. Everybody thinks about the quake. What did you think about that, Jonathan? Were you freaking out a little bit when the thing started shaking?
That was quite cool, fun, watching the lights shake up above, and fun.
It was okay, huh?
Yeah.
What time did you guys get here today?
Oh, about 6:30.
6:30?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. Wait, you're sleeping in on us.
Oh, yeah.
6:30 in the morning. That's not bad. We'll check in with some more people as we continue here. We'll throw it back to you, Gene.
6:30 in the morning. Hey, 6:30 in the morning, we had to be here at 4 so that we could get in before they closed the perimeter.
6:30 is not bad.
One of the things Paul didn't mention was another favorite moment in the Kingdome was Steve Largent playing for the Seahawks before he was a congressman. Everybody remember that? That was a great era in Seahawks football, and that was one of my favorite moments for sure.
And when he broke the record for most consecutive games with a reception, I don't want to give that away because Alan and Lori may be asking that question again in their little game show for the Kingdome.
It's a good thing you didn't enter. You'd be the big winner of all those T-shirts. We'll be right back after this.
King5 News closed captioning is sponsored in part by Sleep Train Mattress Centers.
Hello. Hello. Oh, hi there. It's time to send in the Best of Western Washington viewers poll. Hurry up. It's your last chance to vote for Best Family Getaway, most scenic viewpoint, or even favorite pet store. Right now, come on. That's right. And by voting, you are automatically entered to win a Honda Insight, the first gas electric hybrid in the country. Sharp teeth. The paint printed uniform. Oh. Did I mention that you could vote online? That'll save me something.
Research. When you're buying a car, you've got to do a lot of it. So go ahead, read the magazines, go online, find out all you can. Then check out the 2000 Oldsmobile Intrigue, featuring the award-winning 215 horsepower twin-cam V6. The sports sedan car and driver set turned out to be exceptional.
I'm ready.
Now you can get great 0% financing or $1,000 cash back on the 2000 Intrigue. Make the smart choice at your local Oldsmobile dealer.
Breathe in and release. Now why don't you all assume the jasmine blossom position, and I will print out today's moon sign charts. Control, steady, breathe. Come on, you stupid. And release.
Kodak DSL. The internet as it should be.
NetaDealer.com is a new online automotive buying service. NetaDealer.com has thousands of new and used vehicles to choose from. NetaDealer.com is an affiliation between the best award-winning dealerships in the Northwest. NetaDealer.com has low prices every day. NetaDealer.com has free delivery to your home or office. At NetaDealer.com, there's no hassles and no haggling. NetaDealer.com. Buying a car will never be the same.
And welcome back to King5's coverage of From Dome to Dust. This is one of the cameras inside, looking up at the dome's compression ring, and in about 1 hour and 20 minutes, it and the rest of the dome will come tumbling down.
And one of the shots that you're going to see right now is from Sky King, and it's probably the reverse of that interior compression ring shot. Jim Foreman is in Sky King over the dome or beside the dome, and he's got an hour to go before he watches the dome blow from a very great vantage point. Jim?
Yeah, there you go. And you only have about, 40 minutes if you're planning on getting around the freeway system in Seattle easily. The State Department of Transportation will begin those rolling slowdowns and closing down the on-ramps from Northgate all the way south of Seattle at 40 minutes before the implosion. And there will be traffic completely shut off for a while on the Alaskan Way Viaduct as well. And so if you have any plans to try and get around in downtown Seattle on the freeway systems, and that includes 520 westbound and I-90 as well, you're going to have delays at best, and at times you might find the freeway system shut down. But the folks who are not having trouble getting to where they want to be to watch the implosion, you've been talking about the boats. Look at this beautiful shot of Elliott Bay, all the boats coming in. Folks doing what they can to get the best vantage point for the Kingdome to come down in just 1 hour and 18 and a half minutes. I'm Jim Foreman, live at Sky King. Send it back down to you.
And the only place you'll see king salmon on this Kingdome implosion day is from a boat, too, Dennis.
Jean is pitching that theme all morning, isn't she? Jim said the traffic so far is going along pretty well, and with us right now is Claudia Cornish with the State Department of Transportation, and it seems the witching time, 7:50. That seems to be the key time for people who are taking the freeways around town.
That's right. 7:50 will be the first traffic impact that we have on these area highways, and we'll begin with westbound I-90. At 7:50, we will close all westbound on-ramps between Mercer Island and downtown Seattle, and we will start what we call a rolling slowdown, which means we will slow down all mainline traffic to about 10 miles an hour, and we will stop them on Mercer Island. Then shortly thereafter, at about 8:10, we will close all on-ramps between Northgate Way and Boeing Field. And again, we will slow traffic down to 10 miles an hour, slowly inch them toward downtown Seattle. At northbound I-5, we will stop them at the eastbound on-ramp to I-90. Southbound, we'll stop them at Denny Way. Simultaneously, we will do the same thing on westbound 520, closing all westbound on-ramps between the eastern high-rise of the Evergreen Point Bridge. We'll slow traffic down to 10 miles an hour, stop them at I-5, and the traffic will actually be stopped at those locations until we can reopen the freeways, which we hope will be about half an hour after the dome implosion occurs.
The viaduct is closed completely as well.
The viaduct, I believe, at this point is still open. The City of Seattle is actually closing the viaduct, and my understanding is they're going to close it about 8 o'clock this morning.
Already looks like a ghost town. Is anybody complaining about the slowdowns and the stoppages around the dome area?
I haven't heard of any complaints about any slowdowns. I think people have gotten the word, thanks to you, that they need to stay home this morning.
And thanks to you, Claudia Cornish of the Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Claudia. Let's turn our attention now to Darren Watkins, who's live down, I believe, in Pioneer Square, somewhere down there. Darren.
Jackson, this is the more serious side of things. You can see these are the emergency response vehicles that are all set to go just in case something happens. We have 300 police officers in the area, another 300 firefighters, all watching the Kingdome, all of them with radios, and during the last 5 or 6 seconds of the countdown, you won't hear anything on the countdown itself. That's so that the person on the switch can actually hear any of those voices that can call out at the last second and say, hey, hold off, there's a problem here. Over here we've got the urban rescue team. It's set up as well for any type of problems in case the Kingdome goes the wrong direction or triggers some other problems. The gas company's here as well. They're concerned about a number of gas lines. I said, how many do they have? They say, we've got a whole bunch here in the area. But they're watching just to make sure there aren't any problems, because the concern is when that Kingdome comes down, it's said to trigger a wind gust force of about 100 miles an hour. So we'll stand by here with the emergency crews just to make sure that nothing really happens. Live in Seattle, I'm Darren Watkins.
That's amazing, Darren.
That's a lot of wind. We should hold on to something when the dome goes down.
So I'm holding on to you, big guy. And I'm also reminded when Mark told us when we asked, how noisy is it going to be? He says, do you have a good imagination? We said yes, and he says, well, not good enough. So not only is it going to be noisy, but there's going to be this humongous gust of wind.
And
we'll still be here, though.
It's going to happen in 1 hour and 15 minutes. We're taking a commercial break. We'll be right back with more Dome to Dust coverage and also a look at the day's news.
We'll be right back.
One truck offers you more horsepower than any compact. It's the one that also offers more brute force torque and more sheer payload and towing capacity than any compact. Dodge Dakota. Its big truck capability overshadows the compacts. Now get a $750 cash allowance on select regular cab Dakotas.
This is it. It's happening now. After years in the furniture business, American Oak Warehouse has closed in Kent and Tacoma. Every item in American Oak's $1 million inventory was acquired and must be liquidated immediately. Now is the time to buy quality furniture at liquidation prices. Save on sofas, home office, entertainment centers, lamps, mattresses, dining room, bedroom, and accessories. It will all be sold to the bare walls at liquidation prices. Hurry, it's a complete liquidation of the American Oak Warehouse inventory in Kent and Tacoma. Everything must go.
Your phone, your water pressure, the airbags in your car, the toys your children play with. The world around you runs on chips. Agilent makes the testing equipment that makes sure those chips work. Just try to get through a day without being touched by the things we test. You might as well try to dodge raindrops.
Volkswagen owners really love their cars. So we're not surprised that the Passat was ranked most appealing car in its class by J.D. Power and Associates.
All right, welcome back to our post here at Safeco Field for the implosion of the Kingdome here on King5 News.
That was the shot from inside the dome. A number of cameras, disposable cameras, throwaway cameras. You'll see the dome actually fall down on you from many different vantage points, which ought to be pretty interesting. And we should remind you too, 28 cameras we've advertised all week. When the dome does come down, we'll have a couple of very good live shots. You'll see it happen live. And then all of the other cameras we do have, we're rolling videotape on that. We'll show replays from many, many, many different angles. You'll see that after the live dome to dust.
Well, if you haven't gotten where you're going, then presumably you're going to watch the implosion right here on King5 because traffic is slowing down as of now. And we're going to take you up to Sky King where Sky King's got a duel going with another camera location. Right, Jim?
Yeah, but we don't have a buffet.
Too bad. You've got a great vantage point.
I will gladly trade the buffet breakfast a little later to be able to bring you these pictures from Sky King. But someone who is at the buffet, Linda Brill in the Columbia Tower Club, now the Bank of America Tower Club, with one of the greatest views from the ground.
Perhaps the best view, Jim. Let me just get this straight. This is the Bank of America building and the Columbia Tower Club. And we are at a party where they are having a buffet and mimosas.
And there we are. See his wave?
Hi, I see you. This is the first time that I have been this close to the helicopter and not been in it. Bird's eye view of you. We can see you, and Mark Hansen, the pilot.
And Dave White, the photographer, who's going to be bringing you the spectacular implosion picture.
Hey, we have an excellent view here of the concrete hamburger, and also we are noticing the incredible number of boats that are starting to stream into Elliott Bay. Are you looking at that?
Yeah, we are.
What?
We can do that. Hang out with us, and there you can see Elliott Bay, and the ferry right now is trying to make its way through all these boats. You'll see it here in just a minute. Just pan right a little, Dave. It's coming right into the Coleman dock. There you go. Switch now over to Sky King, and you see that shot of the Washington State Ferry trying to get through the flotilla of boats that have all come out here.
That might be, Jim, or maybe they're just going to go off schedule and stick around and see this incredible view. The people here in the Columbia Tower Club are coming up and saying, first words that they mention when they come up to this window and see it, they go, awesome. This is going to be an awesome view to see this implosion. And there's some concern. Somebody just brought up an interesting point, because there's so many parties going on in this building, and everybody is going to be at this side, the south side of this building, and never before, have they said, have so many people been tilted over to one side of the building. So they're thinking, wait a minute, this is something new. Don't know how this is going to work out. An incredible view. And we have an hour now left to go.
1 hour and 8 minutes and 45 seconds. And I have to tell you that in terms of getting around, the boats are the best way right now. Freeway traffic starting to get congested in downtown. Maybe a little too late to get here. I'm Jim Foreman, along with Linda Brill.
I will see you later. Okay.
All right, Jim and Linda, thank you. Now, that would be something, wouldn't it? We're all here to watch the Kingdome implode and the Bank of America Tower falls over because so many partygoers are on one side of the building.
I think it will hold. Linda called it a giant hamburger. You called it...
It's always looked like a mushroom to me.
Today, to me, it looks like a giant sarcophagus, a stone coffin, because it will come down in just about over an hour, and there is no delay. There is no commutation. The governor's not on the line to...
call it all off. It was just a joke.
It's not going to be called off. It's going down.
Well, I'm glad everybody's happy with the location. Jim says that from Sky King, you'll have a great vantage point. Linda Brill says that from the Bank of America Tower, you'll have a great vantage point. Dennis and I are telling you from Safeco Field, you'll have a great vantage point. We've got these 2 disposable cameras inside the Kingdome. You know that's going to be a great view. So
stay home. We figure, though, you've already made that decision to watch us on TV and watch the implosion live from the comfort of your living room.
Another great vantage point is up by Harborview Medical Center, where Paul Sylvia and Margaret Larson are standing by.
Hi guys, I think maybe a giant cornbread muffin is what it looks like to me. Did you have a
I think that's a pretty
thought?
good call.
Yeah.
But if I have to hear one more thing about Linda Brill and those mimosas, I'm really going to start getting a little
we're
bad.
actually a little irritated about that down here because we don't even have a cup of tea, no water. I mean, we're actually starving and all of that. But hey, don't worry about that, Linda. Enjoy those mimosas. we're people watching, which is kind of fun, and we're looking at the campsites down here. We voted this particular family the very best. Look at this. Blue plastic sheeting. They have the blanket on top. They've got a boom box. They have the kids all protected and warm. They've got food. You don't see this now, but they had a whole grocery sack and drinks, and we're actually going to head down there in just a second. But they win the award. Absolute ultimate viewing from here. What do you think, Paul?
I think that's pretty good, actually. And you can see the hill starting to fill up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's people, it's really starting to look like
it's great.
almost a
People have
concert
got
atmosphere out here.
Stadium seats, and they have their cameras, they've got their food, and the whole thing is just absolutely terrific. We started some music up here. There's a tent for a party that's going to take place in just a couple of minutes after the implosion. So let's go see some people and say
Oh, you want to tell us
hello.
your story real quick? I told this guy we weren't going to talk to him until a little bit later because he said it's a really good story. So now you're on live TV and the pressure's on. Let's hear how great it is.
1993, we went and saw the Mariners. My number 2 boy got after the game, got some autographs from the different players. Then everybody saw the Mariner Moose. About 300 kids took off after the Mariner Moose, and my son decided he was going to take a shortcut. He went running up on an upper platform, dove off, fell on his face. 300 kids gathered up around the Moose, and the Moose saw this whole thing happen. He said, wait a minute, and he said, come here, boy. And he grabbed him, gave him a hug, and Nathaniel, my son, got the first autograph from the Moose.
All right.
And Nathaniel's okay, right?
Yeah, he is okay.
All right, as long as he's still walking and talking, we're all right. And he's got his autograph and everything.
Grew up to be the San Diego chicken. That's not the real ending of the story, but we're happy to hear about that. Okay, back to you guys, Gene and Dennis.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Paul. You know, there were 73 million people went through the turnstiles of the Dome to see a number of events.
Billy Graham was one, I bet.
Billy Graham was the one with the largest audience. 3,361 events at the Kingdome. 3,362nd event is the end of the Dome.
You know, I'm having a nostalgia overload, Dennis. One of the
that?
things we went to the Kingdome together to see was the Monster Truck Show. Now, in this job, we're lucky for a lot of reasons, but I remember thoroughly enjoying going to the Monster Truck Show because we took a 20-year-old who was a special kid, as we all remember. We had been working on a story with him, and he was so excited to see these trucks with what he called the afterburners, because this is a kid who was so energetic in his work at Aldous, when there wasn't Aldous here, that they called him the kid with the afterburners. He had so much energy. I'll always remember the Monster Truck Show in the Kingdome.
And my wife and I went to the home show 2 years ago, and I'm still paying for that. Let's take a break. Back with more Dome to Dust in just a moment.
We'll be right back.
Meet one of the hardest working families in America, the Nissan family of trucks. Say hello to the Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year, the Nissan Xterra, and America's first four-door compact pickup truck, the Frontier Crew Cab, along with the rest of the rugged Frontier lineup, including 2- and 4-wheel drive, and the capable and luxurious Nissan Pathfinder. And right now, you can get $2,000 cash back direct from Nissan and 3.9% APR financing for up to 60 months on all 2,000 Pathfinders, but only through April 3rd.
We think we've come up with a better way for you to buy a good used car. We call it One Good Car, your quality one-stop used car solution. We offer a broad selection of fully reconditioned cars and trucks, and we deliver right to your door. No car lot hassle. You get competitive financing direct from us for all credit levels and a 6-year, 100,000-mile warranty. After delivery, you have 3 days and 300 miles to make sure you're happy with your One Good Car. We really do have one good car for you.
The Laughing Cow presents Cheddar Mini Baby Bell.
Cheddar, Miles! It's awesome!
Who's got the baby bell?
I want more! It's all natural. Who's got the baby bell? I want some! It's the little cheese that likes to get out! Me first! Wait for me!
Catch the newest Mini Baby Bell. Its mild cheddar flavor is naturally delicious. Enjoy it anytime. Hurry to Safeway and get a free mini yo-yo and specially marked bags of Mini Baby Bell. Catch all 4 colors before they run out.
Is your laundry as fresh as the mountain air? It is if you're using Sierra, the fabric softener with built-in mountain freshness. The secret is Sierra's deep action freshness.
Hi there. Got bugs? Well, once they get into your house, there's only one way to get them out. Yeah, call the man. The Orkin Man. Orkin's double protection kills the bugs you have now and keeps them from coming back later. Guaranteed. Call the man at 1-800-800-ORKIN.
And welcome back to King5's coverage from Dome to Dust, the Kingdome implosion. You see the countdown clock. It will happen in just over an hour. 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 55 seconds and counting. And so far we have the thumbs up from all the authorities. The 8:30 implosion is scheduled to go. Scott Miller was talking earlier about how people have tried to sneak close to implosion scenes, hiding in manholes, hiding in bushes nearby. We're told by the Seattle Police Department one person tried to sneak into the Kingdome last night sometime after midnight. They were caught by SPD. The person was not arrested but was escorted firmly from the grounds and told not to come back. Let's go to Lori Matsukawa and Alan Schaffler on Jose Rizal Bridge with a lot of people waiting to see the Kingdome come down.
Thousands now.
It is just like a big street party. I'm going to ask Aunt Randy Yang to go ahead and pan over and see all these people that are standing on the 12th Avenue South Bridge. It's huge.
We've got thousands of people here now, and traffic blocked off, controlled traffic on just 2 lanes, but basically blocked off to most public traffic. We have seen cars being towed here too as well, so don't come up here expecting to get a parking place because you probably won't get it. Tons of people on the
Most of
break.
these people have been here since about 4:30 this morning. We want to show you one of the enterprising people here that we met this morning. His name is George. He is selling a, what is that?
It's a Kingdome shirt.
It's a Kingdome.
R.I.P. Kingdome, 1976, 2000. I was there when the dome was blown.
Now, I'm glad that you joined us, George, because you're going to be a witness to a very exciting round of Who Wants to Own a Kingdome t-shirt.
Here we go, the last and final round. Contestants, please, can you step in here?
Here we go.
Kelly Humphreys and Carl Hafner for the final round of Who Wants to Own a Kingdome t-shirt, and Lori Matsukawa has the first question. We'll start with Carl.
All right, our first question is, who was the architect of the Kingdome? Frank Lloyd Wright, Jack Christensen, John Spellman, or Dewey Soriano?
Go ahead.
Jack Christensen.
And Kelly?
Jack Christensen.
And they both are right. Two yeses. Okay. Next question. Hang on a second. I got it right here. When the ceiling tiles fell in 1994, how much did it cost to fix the damage? 27 million, 35 million, 57 million, or 70 million? Kelly, you first.
$70 million, I believe.
And you're?
70 million.
70 million, and the answer is 70 million. Okay, we're tied going into round 3 of the final round. Here we go, Lori.
I thought you had a third question.
You thought I had a third question? Okay, I do. What did the initial Kingdome construction cost? Your options: 67 million, 107 million, 167 million, or 267 million?
67 million.
And your answer, Kelly?
67 million.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a three-way, three-point tie, so we are going to the tiebreaker now.
Tiebreaker question is.
Here we go. Everybody say, oh! Hey, here we go. Tiebreaker, which one should we do?
Tiebreaker question.
Oh, no, do the other one.
This one?
Oh, the drinking fountains.
Okay. How many drinking fountains are in the Kingdome?
How many drinking fountains are in the Kingdome? Can we have the music too? Drinking. How many drinking fountains? Oh, wait a minute. He whispers in your ear, he whispers in my ear. How many drinking fountains are in the Kingdome?
37, 47, 67, or 87?
No, it's a tiebreaker. They don't get any choices. They just got to pick a number. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, what did we say?
87 for Carl.
87 here. Okay, we have a tie. Most people. One more tiebreaker. Here we go. All right. How many square feet of space on the Kingdome floor? How many square feet of space on the Kingdome floor? Whisper in my ear. 5 seconds. Hang on, we got a one answer here. Carl is whispering in Lori's ear. We have a second answer here. Okay. What did Carl say?
875,000 square feet.
He said 50 million here, and the answer is 155,000 and change. So it is Carl Hafner who wants to be a t-shirt owner. He'll actually get 2 of these fine t-shirts. Here we go. And Kelly, for your participation, we really appreciate it. All right, big hand here. And let's just take a look again at the crowd down here on the 12th Street Bridge. People walking in, strolling in from this part of town. Just a huge crowd gathering. People here with their gas grills firing up breakfast and having a great time. It's been fun.
It's interesting. People have kind of come out of their burrows. They came here covered with blankets and sleeping bags, children all cuddled up under blankets. Now everybody's out in the open. The sunshine is out. People are partying here.
And my fingers and feet are still freezing. Can we pan over and get a shot of the dome, by the way, and show you just what these folks are seeing?
View here. It's beautiful. It's
really
beautiful.
good view. There we go. There goes Randy Yang panning over. The Olympics in the background and the dome looking sort of tattered down there. You know, it's a little bit sad. I saw Jay Buhner hit for the cycle in there. I mean, this is going to be a big day.
My husband actually caught a foul ball on the 100 level, and my parents were there to witness it all, and my son was there. It was just awesome, and I saw them on TV. I saw them catch the ball on TV.
Personal
What
memories.
a memory.
And I saw Gaylord Perry get hooked from the game for throwing a spitter. The only time in his career he ever got yanked.
That's
it
right.
was one of my fondest
Probably
memories.
the only time he threw a spitter.
All right, let's get out of here and go somewhere else. We're all over town. Wherever you want to go, do it.
All right, Alan.
Thanks,
Lori,
Alan.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Laura. I would want to say about the water fountains at the Kingdome now. Number of water fountains right now, I bet you there aren't any.
Well,
Not at all.
You're right.
Gaylord Perry couldn't work up a good spit at the Kingdome right now.
You know, I guess relevant to how many drinking fountains there aren't in the Kingdome, one of the things that an arch critic of the Kingdome, Frank Ruano, said is there are not enough ladies' rooms in the Kingdome. For sitting here drinking a lot of coffee, I'm thinking that's an important fact. There are going to be a lot more ladies' rooms in the new stadium than there were in the old one.
And probably changing stations in the men's rooms for the babies.
Probably. It's a modern facility. Yes.
There must be some law about that right now. Alyssa Hahn is live down in Pioneer Square with the scene on the ground. Alyssa.
Dennis, Lori, and Alan were talking about their view from where they were. We have a view that's going to compete with that. Take a look at this right here. This is as close as you can get unless you are part of the demolition crew. We are bellied up against the barricades down at the Turner private party down here on the northwest end of the Kingdome lot. I actually have some special guests over here. We've got a family of 4 from Bainbridge Island. We have Tony and Kelly Fairbanks and their 2 daughters. We have Michelle and Sarah. Tony, share with me your favorite memory from the Kingdome.
Well, I came to the Kingdome. I saw actually a ball game here in '79, and I just remember how huge it was inside, and I think it's going to get real small inside. So that's
kind of sad to see it go.
Well, I think the new stadium looks pretty nice next to it. Maybe we can do some improvements on how this thing looks. So.
And you were telling me, Kelly, that one of the things you're going to miss, you run back and forth on the Bainbridge run, right? So you're used to seeing the Kingdome here.
Exactly. We always go back and forth, and on the way over, we looked at our last look at the Kingdome from the water, because when we go back, it'll be gone.
Okay. And then Michelle, I don't know, this is for Sarah, Michelle, you guys' first actual visit to the Kingdome on the day it's being imploded. What do you think about that?
I think it's interesting because I've never seen anything being blown up except for on movies. So.
Wow. Well, that's a very first impressive trip to the Kingdome here. Of course, a lot of other families here will keep you updated on what folks think about what they're going to be watching in the next hour or so. And of course, we'll continue to provide you a beautiful view of the Kingdome. Gene and Dennis, back to you.
Well, that is a good shot, bellied up to the barricades, Alyssa.
Thank you, Alyssa. If you're wondering who presses the button to take the dome down, there's actually 2 buttons that have to be pressed. There is one person at about 10 seconds before the implosion who will charge the capacitor discharge blasting machine.
That's the go button, huh?
That's the go button. That's Ray Zukowski, who's an employee of CDI, and Tom Dowd, who is another CDI worker, will actually press the fire button because he is a licensed blaster in the state and he wanted to do it. So those are the 2 individuals involved who will actually get the implosion going.
Well, I imagine there are a lot of people watching who feel like licensed blasters this morning because this is supposed to be a big party day. And it's one of those days that some people feel is to make up for the New Year's Eve Seattle didn't have. You know, you look at the Space Needle and you think that was the party Seattle didn't have on New Year's. And the Kingdome is the party we're having today, 25 years after we built the dome. So party on, blasters.
Heck of a time to have a party, though, Sunday morning. We go to break with some more pictures of the Kingdome before it goes from dome to dust, and we're back with more coverage in just a few moments.
Spring is here along with great airfares to frontier towns across America. For big savings on a spring or summer getaway, buy your tickets by April 4th, fly by September 30th. But hurry, with savings this good, sale seats won't last long. Fares are each way, round trip purchase required.
I'm not going to become one of those old men who sit in lawn chairs on driveways and regret adventures I never took.
We start the day the Franz Variety Way with toast, English muffins, or New York bagels. Part of the Franz lineup of quality bakery products. At lunch, my kids love Franz Premium White, Franz Whole Wheat, or Hillbilly Bread. My choice is Country Hearth, Oregon Hazelnut, and Paulsbo Bread. Then there's the barbecue with Franz Premium Buns. Franz, the good bread, baked locally and delivered fresh to our store.
Quality and variety from our families to yours.
I bet you're wondering how the Chrysler Warehouse can guarantee the lowest prices. One big reason is they never buy $20,000 full-page color newspaper ads. Instead, the Chrysler Warehouse created their own newspaper. It's on the internet at chryslerwarehouse.net.
See color photos of every vehicle in stock. So remember, no expensive newspaper ads means big savings to you every day at Enumclaw Chrysler Jeep Dodge, the Chrysler warehouse.
Spring is here along with great airfares to frontier towns across America. For big savings on a spring or summer getaway, buy your tickets by April 4th, fly by September 30th. But hurry, with savings this good, sale seats won't last long. Fares are each way, round trip purchase required.
Welcome back to King5's coverage from Dome to Dusk. Kingdome memory. Early 90s, I could take my wife and 3 children to family night, watch the Mariners play on Monday night, and it cost $13.75 to get in on the 300 level.
Wow.
For all 5 of us.
Seems like a bargain today, doesn't it?
The $13.75 would cover 1 seat, probably exactly where we are.
All right, Kingdome memory. I remember the first time Mount St. Helens blew. And I know you're wondering, what's the connection? Well, that created an awful lot of dust. And we were so far away from Mount St. Helens. We're a block away from the Kingdome, and that's going to create a lot more dust.
We may see some dust right here in Safeco Field. Up around Harborview, though, not quite so sure. Margaret Larson's up there with Paul. Margaret.
You know, I think there's going to be some up here as well. There could be a giant run-on pledge in these neighborhoods right around here in just a very little bit. Yesterday, as I mentioned to Paul a bit earlier, I was inside the Kingdome. Have you been in there at all since all this stuff has been
Not since they've cleared
done?
it out, no.
It is absolutely amazing. The floor is just berms of all kinds of crumbled concrete and rock right now to give you a little bit of a cushion when the roof falls down. Mark Loazzo, who designed the implosion, was giving me a tour, and this is what we saw.
21 miles?
21.6 miles of detonating cord. Detonating cord that burns at 24,000 feet per second, and that initiates all of the timing devices in each of the blasting caps in each of the 5,900 holes that are drilled in the ribs, the XX columns, the seating vents, 70-row columns. Every place you look, there's explosives. You are right in the middle of a maelstrom.
It is like one of those giant domino configurations coming down. This thing goes off in sequences,
Yes,
right?
it does.
Is it all around? The detonating cable is in circles all around this place.
You are within an explosive Charlotte's Web. You're right in the middle of it.
Yikes. It got my attention. There were detonating caps all around the periphery of the Kingdome and obviously all in the pillars. All of these places, in fact, along the Kingdome where you see the black fabric that looks almost like an armband that it's wearing, that contains some fencing, chain link fencing, and then the big black wrap that's designed to keep those concrete chunks from flying very far when this whole thing blows, because those explosives will actually separate the concrete from the rebar and the columns. And if everything goes according to plan, 3 sections of the roof fall in, then some additional sections, all bringing the ribs of the Kingdome in on themselves, and it should be quite a sight. This is a great angle for it because we will see this section right in front of you right now be the first one, presumably, to collapse if all goes according to plan. Jean and Dennis?
All right, Margaret, thanks. That's quite a tour. Now, when Mark was up here talking to us a little bit before, I was saying, how loud is it going to be? And he said, you have a good imagination. And we said, yes, we have a very good imagination. He said, that's not good enough. So it's going to be very, very loud. And Ken Jones, our photographer, reminds us that the fuse burns at 5 miles per second, which means like that, this electronic Charlotte's Web that Mark referred to is going to go.
Let's give you a heads up on what exactly we'll see when we get just minutes away from the implosion. At 2 minutes before the implosion, there will be 2 2-second horn blasts signifying that we're 2 minutes away. At 1 minute before the implosion, 1 2-second blast. At 30 seconds, the all clear sign will be given. At 10 seconds before implosion, that's when that first button is pushed to actually charge the capacitor.
When do we duck?
We don't duck at all. We'll actually get a countdown to 5, and then at 5 the countdown goes silent. In that last 5 seconds, it gives anyone a chance to call off or to postpone the implosion if something is out of whack. So the final button is the button is pushed. The fire instruction is given. You'll actually hear for the first 3 seconds some crackling sounds, which would sound like a rifle, and then that's when the first 3 sections of the roof cave in, and then the following 3, and then the columns.
All of which they think is going to take 15 seconds?
Under 20 seconds. Under
Right.
20 seconds. So we hear explosions for about 7 seconds, actual explosions for about 7 seconds, and then it just it settles down, or however 50,000 tons can settle.
Yeah, and what we think we're going to do for you is take just a few of the shots of the 28 cameras we've got available so you can really, really focus on what you're seeing. And we're going to go quiet so that you can hear the internal audio from the Kingdome, and you're just going to hear what it sounds like to the Turner construction people and the controlled demolition people, what they're hearing as the dome implodes in onto the center floor. Now, we know dust is good for everything, so the grass here at Safeco Field's uncovered, but it must not be good for the pitching mound and home plate, because those are now covered with a very, very protective covering. Home plate here at Safeco Field and the pitcher's mound are all covered up. And so we don't know how far the dust is going to blow, but they're definitely prepared for it here.
Let's hear from King5's Glenn Farley, who has more on what we will expect to see at about 8:30. Glenn.
Well, I'll tell you, when the dome goes down, it just won't be making noise up here where we can hear it. It's going to be making noise through the ground. It's going to be like an earthquake. And up here at Jose Rizal Park, you can see they have a seismograph here that's actually measuring some of the noise. You can see it on the freeway. Now, when the dome goes down, as those pieces hit the ground, especially the big pieces, that needle is really going to go back and forth. But I'll tell you, it is going to be something like they're figuring maybe about a magnitude 1 earthquake, maybe a little bigger than that, and they're trying to help it use the actual collapse of the dome to help map exactly where the Seattle fault is, because they know it crosses over Puget Sound, but under South Seattle they don't know exactly where it runs. They may find out exactly where it runs after this. I'm Glenn Farley, live in Jose Rizal Park. Back to you.
All right, Glenn, thanks. And we have this update 45 minutes before the Kingdome blows. I know up at where Glenn and Alan and Lori are located at Rizal Bridge, the sun has been up for a long time. The sun has just come over the east side of Safeco Field, and it is a very, very welcome guest here because it's warming up finally. It's been quite chilly, even though it's 39 degrees. It's felt like about 19 because of the wind and because of our exposed position right here in Safeco Field. It's a really beautiful morning.
But this is what outdoor baseball and outdoor football will be like when the new stadium is finally put up in place of the dome. We go to break with more pictures of the Kingdome live. The last few pictures you will see, we have but 45 minutes to look at it.
Before the dome turns to dust right here on King5.
To clear the air.
I can see clearly now.
Toyota's Blue Skies Spring Event, where great cars, excellent values, and a gigantic selection come shining through. Lease a Camry CE for $239 a month for 36 months with $988 due at signing when you apply $500 cash back from Toyota. Your new beginning is here.
It's gonna be a bright,
The Blue Skies Spring Event at your Toyota dealer.
Want to escape from it all? Blow it all away. From great people to personal pleasures and everything in between, Silver Dollar Casino is here for you every day. Silver Dollar Casino, where every night is a great night out.
Stop pulling garden weeds. Prevent them. With new Miracle-Gro Garden Weed Prevent. It actually prevents weed seeds from germinating. With its unique applicator, you just twist, pull, and apply Garden Weed Prevent exactly where you want. Why pull weeds? Stop them before they start. With new Miracle-Gro Garden Weed Prevent.
Looking for a quality used car or truck this weekend? Then come to the Used Car Super Sale at Northgate Mall. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you'll find a massive selection of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. All at Northgate Mall. 14 dealers compete to give you the best deal. Find almost every make and model. Economy cars as low as $3,000. Luxury cars from $20,000. Trades are welcome. Admission and parking are free. Come to the Used Car Super Sale at Northgate Mall. It's going on now.
All right, back live now from our perch at Safeco Field, the last hour of the Kingdome's life. It's short, 25-year lifespan.
We were inviting you to bring your cup of coffee to the festivities. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Yes, you know, every once in a while you think about the Colosseum in Rome, or you think about those leaning towers in Venice, and you think those buildings are hundreds of years old, and they lean and they get shored up, and people love them and they keep them. And what must they think about a building that's 25 years old and has outlived its useful life, the community says, and it's going to be imploded after 25 years?
I think this is something Europeans and probably much of the world simply do not understand.
Yes, many people in this area don't understand it, but...
That is true, although, I mean, given the economics of professional sports now, that's the reason why the dome is being brought down. Whether you agree or not, that's the reason it's happening.
That's right. There are going to be more luxury boxes. There are going to be more potty places. There are going to be 70% of the seats undercover, and all in all, Seattle gets a new facility within the next 2 years.
Our game show host and hostess, Alan Schaffler and Lori Matsukawa. Do you have more questions for
that
people
Dennis
to guess?
can answer.
It sounds like Dennis was having the most fun playing our trivia game.
Yeah,
Don't you
you've
think
done
so?
well out here, Dennis, yeah.
I want to set the scene for you. We have thousands, at least 1,000 people on this bridge. They've closed off 2 lanes of traffic so people can walk on the bridge. There are people along the freeway, all along Beacon Hill, watching the implosion or expecting to see the implosion. A huge crowd here.
Pretty amazing. And in the crowd, Chuck Boyle, who spent the last 2 decades slinging beer and peanuts in the dome. You going to be sad to see it go?
Yeah, I'll be sad to see it go, but I am working at Safeco, so I'm still doing what I love to do.
There you go. Chuck Boyle still doing what he loves to do. Will be selling beer and peanuts in the new stadium, he hopes. And this is the scene. We're in amongst them. A huge crowd here. Great view.
You can't see it, but there's a woman here with a big couch. I mean, she came prepared. And
she brought furniture.
And there are people here who have been here all night. They slept here. It's incredible.
People have been living here overnight and just waiting about another 40 minutes. 40 minutes!
40 minutes.
And a dome comes down. Let's throw it back to you. Dennis, Gene?
All right, Alan and Lori, thank you. And the dome is going to come down and give people a lot of information about how this area of Seattle would behave if there were an earthquake. And so they have people stationed with, as Glenn pointed out, seismic monitors just to see how this area reacts when there's such a big boom and a big bounce. And as this all unfolds, Scott Miller's going to tell us exactly what they're looking for, what the time schedule is, and what you, the viewer here at King5, can expect. Scott?
Well, I'm here in this sea of tripods and cameras as the media watches the dome come down, but the command post is actually on the other side of the dome from here, and that's where the people who have planned this entire implosion say that everything is still going exactly according to plan. The final countdown begins before dawn as police block streets and divert traffic away from the Kingdome. 2.5 hours before the implosion, demolition workers hooked 6 electric blasting caps to wires that lead to this box with buttons. It will deliver the electric charge that will start a chain reaction of explosions.
Basically, it's a capacitor discharge blasting machine. It's got batteries in it that would nicely power your D-cell flashlight at home. It's got a bunch of them.
At 30 seconds, an all clear comes from local authorities monitoring the scene. At 10 seconds, the first button is pushed to charge the capacitor. At 5 seconds, the countdown goes silent.
The last 5 seconds of the countdown is silent. So anyone who needs to call in and say, stop, we've got somebody in the wrong place, we stop.
Then the final button is pushed, igniting 21 miles of detonation cord strung in circles around the Kingdome.
Series of rifle cracks you'll hear when we say fire is going to be this line going off. That is just strictly for initiation. It's not doing anything structural at all. So all you're going to hear for the first 3 seconds is this cord going off. And the reason you see them spaced...
The cord connects to explosive assemblies like this one. Blasting caps and sticks of dynamite have already been stuffed in 5,000 holes drilled in Kingdome concrete. At 3 seconds, the first sticks of dynamite go off. They fracture supports holding 3 of the dome's 6 roof sections in place. For the next 6.6 seconds, timed explosions take out the remaining roof sections and support columns along the perimeter. At about 9 seconds, the explosions end. The falling roof pulls the sides of the building inward.
All we're doing is releasing the things now that hold the structure up. It's going to come down by itself with gravity's help.
In 20 seconds, it is over. The implosion leaves 50,000 tons of debris, rubble on the inside, 60-foot columns standing on the outside. But the Kingdome is history. Now, while we were in that taped piece, a representative of Turner Construction Company just stepped up to the microphone just a minute ago and said, "We are on time, about 37 minutes and counting right now. The implosion is still expected to happen as scheduled at 8:30. Dennis, Gene, back to you.
Scott, thanks.
And that implosion will happen no earlier than 8:30 as well.
Right. Now, what you're seeing in the shot right here is our countdown clock. We're keeping you on the second exactly as that dome comes down, and it's expected, as you can tell, at 8:30 this morning.
Now, on the north end of the Kingdome, where the restriction zone is right up against Pioneer Square, apparently there's been some trouble, people trying to get into the restriction zone, and Darren Watkins is down there to tell us more about that.
We're here right now at the command post, and they've had a number of problems this morning, Seattle Police has, in actually trying to keep people out of some of the restricted areas. They've had several reports of people climbing fences, getting up on top of buildings in different areas, but right now there's some 300 police officers, another 300 or so emergency workers with the fire department, with C-Trans, that sort of thing, all keeping their eyes on the site just to make sure that no one gets inside an area where it is dangerous. In fact, we're told now that one person, in fact, did that last night, just after midnight. Someone climbed the fence and almost got inside the dome before he was spotted by a police officer and then escorted out. When asked what he was doing there, he didn't really have an answer, and police are now telling us he appeared to be quite intoxicated. There are a number of steps they're taking here right now, trying to get this area ready, last-minute preparations. They've gone and made sweeps through the area again to make sure there wasn't anyone homeless in some of the typical areas that they had usually slept around the area. They've made a check, and that has been completed. Also, some of the crews have walked around handing out earplugs this morning, telling us here that the sound may actually be a bit louder channeled through these buildings than was earlier expected. Also, we've been told that the trains over the train yard has now laid down carpeting over some of the tracks just to make sure that the debris doesn't land there and sort of contaminate any of the area there. So the train system is being held off coming through here until they can get that all completed. Right before the blast, we're going to be hearing some large klaxons and horns going off so that the birds in the area will sort of be scattered and won't be a problem here. And then the construction crews are already standing by to get ready to start taking the rubble out almost immediately after the dome is brought down. We'll be here at the command center bringing the latest. I'm Darren Watkins.
All right, Darren, thank you. And in case any of you had wanted to take the underground tour in Pioneer Square this morning, either because you really wanted to take the tour or because you wanted to hide and get a good seat for the implosion, that tour is off until 11 o'clock this morning. So sorry, folks, no underground tour of Pioneer Square until 11 this morning.
And the reason for that, too, is the entrance to the underground tour is in the restriction zone.
Right.
And the underground of Seattle has held up very well in a number of earthquakes at 6-point magnitude since the early 1900s, so it's safe down there. They don't worry about that. But because the entrance is in the exclusion zone, have to wait till this is over.
All right, we've been talking about favorite Kingdome moments. Some of my favorite newspaper moments, the Tacoma News Tribune, in a great wrap-up on what we can expect from the Kingdome, said, now the police are particularly worried about people hiding under manhole covers or being masquerading as a bush so that they can get really close to the Kingdome. Police say they haven't found too many incidents of this, but I thought, gee, that was a word to the wise. They'll find you if you're dressed as a bush this morning. And the Seattle Times, which I thought the Saturday version of the Sunday paper had what the new stadium will look like, but today's version of the Seattle Times surprisingly had a little square at the bottom of the paper saying all the latest on the Kingdome will be in tomorrow's paper. I was kind of surprised not to see perhaps today's dome and tomorrow's dome on the front page of the paper, but that will of course be the front page of the paper tomorrow.
We want to welcome viewers on Northwest News who are now joining us for a coverage of the dome to dust. The Kingdome implosion is right on schedule and will happen in just under 33 minutes. At about this time, there are traffic slowdowns, rolling stops, and some of the on-ramps and off-ramps on I-5 and on I-90 have been closed. Jim Foreman is up in Sky King to give us the look on traffic down below. Jim.
Yeah, there is the traffic is starting to build
in volume in downtown Seattle, and now the Department of Transportation has started implementing their slowdown and closure procedures. The on and off ramps from Northgate all the way south of downtown on I-5 are going to be closed until at least half an hour after the implosion, and the State Patrol beginning those slowdowns. Stay off the roads. That's the best advice. I'm Jim Foreman live in Sky King.
All right, Jim,
thank you.
It does look like a ghost town, and there's a lot of work being done, not just to implode the building, but to see what it's like after a big quake. Let's take a look after we go to break. We'll be right back.
And parent.
Stuck without a workstation? Souder. Good furniture. Made possible.
People go through a lot just to get great tasting water. Now there's a better way. Introducing the Pure Touch faucet with a filter right inside. Pure Touch, exclusively for Moen.
Stanley?
Meet one of the hardest working families in America, the Nissan family of trucks. Say hello to the Motor Trend Sport Utility of the Year, the Nissan Xterra, and America's first four-door compact pickup truck, the Frontier Crew Cab, along with the rest of the rugged Frontier lineup, including 2- and 4-wheel drive, and the capable and luxurious Nissan Pathfinder. And right now, you can get $2,000 cash back direct from Nissan and 3.9% APR financing for up to 60 months on all 2,000 Pathfinders, but only through April 3rd.
It's easier than ever to relax with $1,000 factory rebates on Sundance and Dimension One spas from Aquaquip. Two of the world's biggest and best manufacturers have joined together for this special event, extended till April 3rd at Aquaquip.
Aquaquip, your relaxation destination.
Try Quiznos mesquite chicken with bacon sub. Tender, all-white chicken strips, bacon, cheddar cheese, tomato, onion, and cool ranch dressing, all warm from the oven.
I call this cantaloupe. The banana. Hold on, little tomato.
QFC, the art of food.
Sharing the Wealth, an exclusive half hour tonight at 8.
Demolition Day for the Kingdome. From dome to dust, this is King5 News special coverage of the Kingdome implosion. Now from our live location at Safeco Field, Gene Enerson and Dennis Bounds.
And good morning, everyone. Glad you can be with us on this last day of the Kingdome. It would have turned 24 years old tomorrow. Completed March 20. What's today's date? March 27th, 1976 it was completed. It was open at that time.
And what better place to enjoy the implosion of the Kingdome than on King5? So thanks for being with us and stay with us. We've got 28 cameras at your disposal, and yes, 2 of them are disposable. They're inside of the Kingdome, so you'll see what it looks like inside the dome as the dome turns to dust right here on King5.
And we know traffic around the area is slowed up considerably now. The rolling slowdowns and on-ramps closed on I-90, Interstate 5 as well, and rolling slowdowns on 520 as it approaches I-5. So obviously you're staying at home for the duration to get the best seat in the house. We do have people all over the city in a number of different locations who've come out here early this morning. Some even camped out overnight just to get their favorite spot to see the dome implode personally.
All right, we're going to be sharing with you some of our favorite Kingdome moments. We're right on schedule. The dome's set to implode at 8:30, and Mark Loiseau of Controlled Demolitions, the man who's going to blow up the building, or whose company is charged with blowing up the building, says everything's just right on schedule. Traffic moving very, very slowly. What traffic there is out there on this Sunday morning.
And what the State Patrol has done is the rolling slowdown means that the traffic going through the Interstate 5 right now is slowed to 10 miles per hour, and that is it. And then up very close to the implosion, that traffic will actually stop.
I don't know if you can hear this hum in the air above us, but I can count, probably 2, 4, 6, 8 helicopters And the helicopters, we're told there are supposed to be 17 helicopters up here in the sky. So I don't know if the only news we'll be covering is the Kingdome implosion, folks. That's a lot of helicopters in a very small airspace.
Now, one of the helicopters is Sky King.
And that's right. And that's where Jim Foreman is, bringing this story to you live from Sky King. Jim?
Yeah, we were told to expect 17 different aircraft up over the Kingdome when it comes down in just a little less than half an hour. There you can see the on-ramps to I-5 and I-90 are being shut down. This one, the north end of Seattle, and it is going to start thinning the flow of traffic, and then we can show you that rolling slowdown again. The point of that is to make sure that everybody is going at a crawl, so if somebody is distracted by something during the implosion time, then they don't have a big high-speed crash. So that's what's going on right now. We'll see the freeway system shut down completely just before the implosion, also being shut down Highway 99, and then they are going to have bridge inspectors out checking all the roadways right after the big blast. So we will stay on top of it. I'm Jim Foreman reporting live in Sky King.
All right, Jim, thanks. Everything's set again. You're watching the countdown clock on the lower portion of your frame right here on KING5. And Controlled Demolition says everything is A-OK, traffic moving fine, the explosives all in place, and everything is exactly on schedule.
Interesting note, the clock that Controlled Demolitions is using is set to the atomic clock at the U.S. Naval Observatory. We're also told that the implosion will happen no earlier than 8:30.
I've been saying 2 disposable cameras inside the dome. There are actually 4 disposable cameras, and we're going to bring you those pictures inside the dome, and a grand total of 28 cameras we've got posted in and around the dome for the implosion a little more than 20 minutes from now.
One of the non-disposable cameras is up at Harborview, where King5's Margaret Larson and Paul Sylvia are.
I hope so. Boy, I'm going to be upset if we're disposable at this point. We are in the countdown now. It is quite serious, and this place went from black and white to in color in the last few minutes. We are talking about planes going overhead, pulling banners, bands playing, music, boom boxes, kids selling candy, making a little money from the captive audience down here, and the hungry people who haven't had breakfast yet. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's beautiful now. There's a lot of people here. We just take a quick look over the hill here. You can see the hill is really filled in nicely, and they're still coming in because we are into the last half hour. So we can expect a lot of action here, and of course a lot of action across I-5 as we continue.
Well, we have seen just a couple of people when we first arrived. How many people were here?
Oh, just a couple of knuckleheads and ourselves.
we were probably the goofiest of the bunch, but there were some people who started out here at 1 o'clock waiting for the really best seat, and now there are, officially a zillion people here. So let's look over there real quick. Hi, guys. How are you? This lady, in fact, has, you've got a cast on your foot, don't you? What happened to you?
Oh, I broke my foot.
But you came all the way up here to see the Kingdome come down.
1 foot, yeah. Came all the way down I went to the first rock concert here, so I decided I had to watch it go down.
What was the concert?
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. Okay, well, so that's it. We've got Billy Graham, we've got Led Zeppelin, we've got Barney, all kinds of things happening at the Dome, and Paul's talking to somebody too.
Oh, just a quick word with Jim Wright. Jim Wright caught 9 home run balls in the Kingdome, and 28 total, right?
28 total, and hopefully there'll be a lot more at Safeco.
So Jim's out here. He's got the trident up here, the old Mariner hat, so he's ready to go, and people are all set to go here, and we'll see what happens here as we continue. The excitement's starting to build just a little bit. Back to you, Gene.
All right, Paul,
that's some feat. That guy caught all those home run balls at the Kingdome.
No, that's
incredible.
Not some feet, Dennis. That's some hands.
Some hands, that's right.
Favorite Kingdome moment?
Absolutely. I was at Game 5 of the series against the New York Yankees, sitting in the 200 level down the right field line. And I think as everyone who watched that game in the Kingdome, also on television as well, when the ball left Martinez's bat down the left field line, everyone was up off their feet, and you knew something exciting was happening. I couldn't believe Griffey could run that fast. And I mean, he made it around from second, third to home in a flash, and that was absolutely the best moment at the Kingdome. The best sports moment I've ever witnessed live.
God, I could just smell the hot dogs and almost feel the dust as you talk about it. I think my favorite actual non-sporting event was watching Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones in the Kingdome. But my favorite sporting event was several seasons of really great winning Seahawks football.
Yeah.
Steve Largent on the team, Dave Craig on the team, A lot of spirit behind the team. And of course, that's why we're blowing up this building, is so we can have an even better football facility and see an even better Seahawks team play.
A new tradition for the Seahawks in a new stadium.
And everybody sure hopes it happens, because we're going through a lot to make it happen. We're going through an implosion that's
right.
absolutely on schedule, set for 8:30 this morning. And just to warn you, there's going to be a siren about 2 minutes out before the implosion. And some of the noise you're going to hear is to scatter the birds. Some of the noise you're going to hear is a siren, a warning sound 2 minutes out, and then you're going to hear the big bomb.
You'll also be hearing some of two-way traffic from the people for controlled demolition, specifically Jim Santoro, who's the senior project manager who's in charge of this.
All right.
You know, the folks at Evening Magazine are helping us out today. John Curley is on one of the Argosy boats in Elliott Bay, and I can't wait to see what he has for us.
All right, John?
Dennis, Gene, how are you, my friends?
We're doing just fine. We love those T-shirts, Mr. Curley, and what a nice hat.
Oh, my
Thank you very
goodness.
much. You know, we're here on the MV Kirkland. This ship was originally a ferry back in 1924. I don't know how many people we have on board. Make yourself known. Scream out, everybody. We've got a great seat. It's a little shaky up here, but I'd like to demo for you now exactly what we can expect. I know we've been showing those crappy computer photos of what it'll look like. Let me give you a better idea of what it'll look like when the dome goes up. Gene, Dennis, do you guys want to see that? Gene, Dennis?
Okay, say that again. We're getting some instructions about the trains here, train
What?
traffic.
What, Anderson, you're not listening to me?
I'm absolutely listening to you, John, but who believes a man in a crazy hat like
This
that?
is golden.
This is gold. All right.
All
now,
right, you ready?
Give us a scoop.
Okay, this is basically what we're going to see is the implosion. I'll do it for you now. In a count of three. Here we go. They're going to give. Look for the explosions occurring around the Kingdome. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Timing's everything, John.
There should be.
John, timing is everything.
Hey, John.
Hold on. You know what? It was supposed to.
John,
Yeah,
the
hold on,
explosion
Gene.
goes at 5 miles per second, John. Okay. Oh.
Thank
All
you,
right.
John.
John Curley's still
I
trying
worked
to...
on this all night. Wait, Gene, Dennis, come
Well,
on.
you still have 20 minutes, John.
Wait a minute.
That's good, John.
There's
You've still
supposed
got
to be
20
a bigger
minutes.
explosion.
Okay, well,
John didn't
we'll
have
get back to you.
demolitions working for him.
That's right. Controlled demolition is the group in charge of blowing up the Kingdome, and when it finally does go, we're told that it will go at 5 miles per second, which is quick. The entire Kingdome is going to turn to dust in less than 15 seconds, and John will still be blowing up his hat. I mean, you know.
Keep trying, John. It's not going to work.
The T-shirts were
Goodbye.
good, though, John. The T-shirts were good.
Let's go to Alan Schaffler and Lori Matsukawa.
Hey, Dennis. Hey, Gene. We are on the 12th Street Bridge, us and about 4,000 other people right now. People have been congregating here since 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Sleeping bags are out. People have been barbecuing burgers, and Lori has a fashion description
tip.
right now.
This is the way to be appropriately attired for a Kingdome implosion. This is George Rowe of Seattle. He's 7. Turn around and show him the back of that hat. Isn't that perfect? He is just perfectly dressed for an implosion.
Ready for the dome. We want to take you over here now to the bank of the hillside just southeast of the dome. There are probably 1,500 or 2,000 people on this bank around the corner there. People climbing up into trees, if you can see that. Looks like a very precarious spot, but these folks do have a great seat. They don't look too comfortable. It's not exactly a 100-level seat in the dome, but they do have a good view of the Kingdome, and the view is what brought everybody out. It's really a great spot to see it.
And from here, you can also see just tons and tons of boats out on Elliott Bay. There are big boats, little boats, sailboats, canoes, all manner of watercraft out there on Elliott Bay. They're going to have a great view, too.
We're all going to have a great view here in just about 18, 20 minutes. I don't have the clock available to us, so you can fill us in on how many seconds we are out. But everybody here waiting for this to happen. Is it going to work, folks?
Yeah.
We've got some nods. We've got some head shakers, too, so
and
we'll
some
see.
people still waking up, too.
Yeah, a lot of people still waking up. Parking is a mess here. Don't bother coming here. We've seen cars towed off the hillside down here, out of the neighborhood up here. If you're coming, come on foot or come by bicycle. A lot of folks doing that. Say goodbye.
That many people.
Goodbye.
Still
right,
hard to
Alan,
believe that
Lori,
many
thank
people
you.
out on a Sunday morning.
Well, they're not going to be out driving around because
No.
westbound I-90 is now closed. They're doing rolling slowdowns and stoppages on all the freeways around the area. The area around 7th and Holgate in Alaska is now completely cordoned off, and the trains have stopped and the tracks have been carpeted or covered with a visqueen. And so now
There are actually 4 trains that were, I think, 3 departures and 1 arrival to arrive at King Street Station today, but that was closed down at at 6, closed from 6 to noontime, and those folks were being picked up in Tacoma and Edmonds.
Right, and they're beginning to close the ramps on the freeways right around the Kingdome area, folks. So stay home and enjoy the Kingdome explosion right here on King 5. And my favorite traffic warning of the morning is if you were planning on doing the underground tour in Pioneer Square, it's called off this morning until 11 o'clock. So don't tour the underground this morning, folks. It's closed temporarily. I love it. I just love it.
One of the best locations to be right now is at the Columbia Tower, the Bank of America Tower, and King 5's Linda Brill is at the Tower Club with a great view of the dome, looking down on it.
Dennis, we're up 75 stories up, and we are at a very upscale party here at the Columbia Club Tower. Let's take a look out now and see what the people here are looking. As soon as they approach this window, they just go, wow, this is awesome. One of the best views in the city of watching the Kingdome blow up, or blow in, as we've been hearing all morning. Now, you know, one other thing that we've been noticing from up here is a lot of little people down there. Take a look at the Smith Tower. There are people out on the roof of the Smith Tower. Their view is not as high as ours. They have a party going on there. That is a $125 a head party in the Chinese room, and that is full today. There's other parties around the city, the Norton Building, members of the Harbor Club. That's where Paul Allen is today, the Seahawks owner. And if you look over to the right now, this is the most incredible sight from this building. It looks like Seafair in March. We were trying to guess from up here how many boats are out in the Elliott Bay right now. I was saying 500. Other people are saying thousands. The point is they keep streaming in, and it has been a steady flow of boats coming into the bay all morning, lining up, ready to see. Well, we're all waiting for this big 18 seconds of dust and noise. We figure we're not going to have a good time hearing it being inside, but we'll probably feel it. You'll feel it. You'll be feeling it too.
Oh yeah, what
sure
a view
will.
of Elliott Bay.
It's incredible, and it strikes me looking at that picture that this is the party that we didn't have on New Year's. And the Space Needle's a great place to watch from, but the Space Needle was supposed to be the scene of a great New Year's party. This is the scene of a great end of March party and an end of the Dome party. So enjoy your late New Year's, folks. This is what New Year's is like in Seattle in the year 2000.
Keep an eye on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. That is a countdown clock from at 0. It begins to turn. The dome begins to turn to dust, and that is an accurate count.
It's right on time. Now, you're going to hear a siren go off 2 minutes before, and then you're going to hear a series of other explosions and loud noises. And Mark Loiseau, the head of controlled demolition, who's blowing not blowing up the building, says, when I asked him how loud it was going to be from our vantage point a block away, he said, how good an imagination do you have? And I said, really good. And he said, not good enough. You can't imagine how loud this is going to be. And also it creates a wind of 100 miles an hour within the Kingdome, and we're a block away. I'm wondering if we're going to blow away.
I think we're not going to blow away. I think if you were standing next to the Kingdome, you would feel that 100 mile per hour wind. It will dissipate by the time it gets to us. But we could feel not necessarily gale force winds, but a good steady breeze. And for the 150 reporters and photographers and technicians who are here at Safeco, earplugs have been passed out just in case they want to be used.
That's right. And we're securing all our duffel bags and our backpacks and our shooting equipment here. So we're getting ready for the implosion, which is right on time. Jim Foreman up in Sky King, he's going to have an awesome view as well. Jim, Sky King bringing you the Kingdome implosion.
Yeah, we want to talk about traffic. Those slowdowns and closures are now in effect. You're looking at westbound I-90. There you can see the leading edge of the trooper cars. What they're going to do is basically keep everybody stacked up here until the implosion and the dust settles, and then they'll get things reopened again. So getting around Western Washington, pretty tough right now. If you were planning on trying to make it down here in 14 minutes, good luck. Don't think it's going to happen. I'm Jim Foreman, live at Sky King. There you can see from our Department of Transportation cameras also that 520 is also impacted as well. So I-5, 520, I-90, and Alaska Way Viaduct all will be shut down or slowed down until at least half an hour after the implosion. Back to you guys.
All right,
Okay,
Jim, thanks.
As you look at the countdown clock, just under 14 minutes, the Kingdome weighed about 110,000 tons. There's only about 50,000 tons of it left. Much of it has been carted out. And to bring down what is left of the Kingdome, they're using, controlled demolitions is using about 2 tons of explosives. And they are 1-inch by 8-inch sticks of dynamite, which are being put in about 5,900 different holes that have been drilled around the Kingdome over the past couple of months.
You're
That
going
is
to miss
what's
it, aren't
bringing it
you?
down.
You've learned so much about the Kingdome. Baseball was your favorite moment in the Dome, right?
Yeah, this is one of the last times we'll see this
That's
building.
right. In 15 minutes or so, we're going to say bye-bye Kingdome as it turns to dust. And we're also going to take a radio transmission of what the controlled demolition people and Turner Construction people are going to hear as the Dome comes down. They're talking to each other. They're listening to the sounds inside of the Dome. And that's what we're going to bring to you right here on King5 this morning.
Jim Santoro, who's Senior Projects Manager for Controlled Demolitions, is the main voice that you will hear. And the key moments that you will hear from him, you'll hear an all clear with about 30 seconds left. He will actually begin the countdown at 10 seconds and then stop speaking at 5. And in that last 5 seconds, if anyone needs to stop the demolition for whatever reason, that's when it will happen. But and then when it comes down to 0, Mr. Santoro's voice will say fire, and then the button will be hit, the detonation box will be, fire button will be hit, and all heck will break loose.
And they're going to give away some free rubble on 3 upcoming Saturdays. Just thought we ought to throw that factoid in. We've got 28 cameras that work for you this morning, 4 of them inside the Kingdome when the Kingdome blows. Bellied up to the barricades, Alyssa Hahn herself for King5 News in Pioneer Square. Alyssa.
In and out these dust filters that your people are going to be wearing on their face. I've got 10-year-old Ethan Brame from Anacortes, right?
Yep.
Okay, he's going to model this mask for us, and you can see some other people also have them on as well. Tell me, first of all, what we were talking about how great the view is down here. We were looking at the Columbia Tower view too. What's so cool about being this close to the implosion?
Just seeing it lively from not on TV, and to be here.
You're going to have a pretty big dust cloud coming down over here. You were looking forward to that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to think that's a really cool thing. I'm going to show you, if you look up, you can see people who are up on the rooftops down here too, trying to crane their necks and see what they can of the implosion. A lot of folks down here at the Turner CDI party. These are all special guests who have been invited down here to get pretty much as close as you can get to the Kingdome and see this for yourself, for those people who decided not to see it on TV. Jane and Dennis, let's toss it back to you.
All right, Alyssa Hahn down in Pioneer Square. We're battening down the hatches here at our post at Safeco Field. As well we should, because a $100 million insurance policy has been taken out in case there's any damage to any of the buildings around the Kingdome area. I understand
that's taken out by Turner Construction, who's building the new stadium, who built the Rose Garden down in Portland, and who did the renovations at Key Arena as well. So
that's right.
They put their stamp on the Pacific Northwest.
Right. There have been photographs taken of the buildings around here so that if any cracks develop, if any faults in the building develop, they've got a before and an after picture. And, this whole area is built on fill, and it's a very fragile area. Just as we all know, the viaduct is built on fill. They say everything's going to be safe. They say there will be no other damage, that all that they're really expecting to happen is that the Kingdome implodes, but of course everybody's watching.
Which is a good time to remind folks too, the 200 seismometers that are placed around the Seattle area to measure what the implosion will do to the Seattle Fault, which runs from Bainbridge through Seattle all the way to the east side through Issaquah.
Right, we're starting to move around up here because we're about, 10 minutes away. And I've got to say, from our vantage point, I can count, I don't know how many helicopters. It's just like a swarm of bees. And that's my own personal concern this morning, is that all the helicopters are safe up there. And I know they're bringing you great pictures, but I hope they're making sure about their own safety as well.
I've turned back to look at the Kingdome and used my binoculars to scout around, and I see absolutely no one.
It looks like a ghost town.
It really
There's nothing
is.
on the streets. There's nobody around the buildings, nobody on the rooftops. There is nothing moving down here except for the 150 reporters right here at Safeco Field. You can see nothing alive down here, and it's
Jim
a
Santoro,
strange moment.
Yeah, Jim Santoro, who's going to give the instructions to fire.
The Opus building, are they to be there?
Is about 1,000 feet away from the dome himself, so on second. So
right.
He's got a straight shot look at the dome.
Yeah, it's just all right, construction audio is what you're going to hear right now. You're looking at the inside view of the dome. That's the compression ring that's going to implode.
On the roof of the Turner building.
All
right, you're looking at the Kingdome, the last 8 minutes that you're going to see the Kingdome here in Seattle.
Kevin, I see him too. He's by the stairwell.
We're told that.
All right, Alaska Way Viaduct now closed.
Did I just hear they started the 15-minute countdown?
15-minute. All right, they've started the countdown.
Being on the roof of the Turner building.
They're checking security around the perimeter.
He's underneath an overhead canopy. I'd say no. We can color that one pink.
All right, you're listening to the Turner Construction audio. These are the people who are imploding the building. These are the people who are monitoring what's going on. You're hearing what they have to say as they check the perimeter, and they're seeing if anybody's in there.
Okay.
This is the culmination of just about a year's work for the implosion company. They came out here last year to take a look at the Kingdome, to scout it out, and of course the work definitely began in earnest right after the last the Seahawks lost in the playoffs.
I'm with Tom Gerlach. He has the cell phone for the property manager of the Turner building. Would you like him to have someone go over there and clear them?
All right,
now
you could.
It's not one person. I see three. If Tom can do that, that would be appreciated. They're by the north stairwell on the roof.
All right. You're listening to the warnings that they're giving for people out of place in the area. The perimeter's been secured. The area's closed.
They want to make sure that security perimeter is tight. They don't want anyone there.
All right, we're getting our last-minute notes here, too. Helicopters buzzing overhead. The radio audio from Turner Construction, that's what you're hearing. The countdown stops at what is officially known as 2 minutes and holding. After a check of the security perimeter, the countdown resumes. So that's what we're going through right now.
Now, we heard, though, on the radio that the 15-minute countdown has just begun. That was a couple of minutes ago, so...
But they're on time. They're absolutely on time, and this building is supposed to blow at exactly 8:30. And we're reminded it's going to blow down, not blow up. It's going to implode.
As we are so close to the end of the Kingdome, what must be the thoughts running through the minds of people who love this place and who absolutely don't want to see it
One of the
its
things
demise?
I'm thinking is we haven't even paid for this building yet, and it's only 25 years old, and we're blowing it up to make way for an even grander facility of the same nature. Too bad they couldn't lift it up, float it away, and give it to somebody who wanted a covered stadium, because it still works.
The debt on the dome is about $200 million, not only for the original bonds, but for maintenance and improvements that have made over the years, plus the ceiling construction in 1994. Let's go to Margaret and Paul up at Harborview Medical Center with their view.
Dennis and Jean, it is now serious business. I'm looking across an empty I-5 at the Kingdome and thinking we are down to single-digit minutes now after talking about this literally for years. What do you think? I mean, this is pretty suspenseful at this point.
I am so excited to see this Kingdome come down. It's been a nice one for Seattle for years, and I'm just thrilled to see it come down.
Well, you're going to get your wish in just a couple of minutes. Paul, I mean, it's hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, it's finally here.
It is hard to believe. I'm trying to get some excitement here, but you people really aren't too excited, are you? Yes. Yeah, you see that? It's really not, it's not that big a deal, these guys. They just want to blow it up so you can go home, right? What about you?
We're happy to see it go, but we'd like to see the new stadium up as soon as possible.
All right, well, it's coming soon, sooner than you think.
Say goodbye to the Kingdome. Can everybody say goodbye? Bye-bye, Kingdome!
All right, we're going to do a little thing here.
Well, the excitement continues. Back to you.
All right.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Margaret.
Well, we're about 5 minutes away. We're told the countdown clock has begun and we're underway. And so we're going to get up and move out of the way now. And so you just kind of follow us as we do this. We're going to get out of the picture. We're going to give you a better picture of the Kingdome. And we got to move on our little deck perch here. And people around us are putting on masks and they're putting in earplugs. And we're going to keep talking to you, so we're not going to cover up our mouths. And we're not going to cover up our ears yet. But we are going to get out of the way, and we're going to get into the way of the shot so that you can see us and you can see the Kingdome, because we've got about 4 minutes left to watch it. People here at Safeco Field and the platform are getting out their own personal cameras, recording the last 3 minutes of the Kingdome as the Kingdome comes down. This is your last chance to watch it, folks, and with this beautiful picture of the Seattle skyline in the background, it's your last chance to see this Kingdome is part of the Seattle skyline. There'll be the Safeco Field, and there'll be the familiar Space Needle, and there'll be all the skyscrapers in the background, but you're not going to see the Kingdome anymore. It's going down. It's going to take about 2 minutes after the siren, and the dome will go down, and then 15 seconds for it to completely implode. It's going to be loud. We're going to leave the audio, and you're going to hear the audio inside the dome, where we have the 4 disposable cameras and audio equipment and microphones set up in there too. So that's what you're going to hear inside the Kingdome.
Now let's remind you also, we're going to show you the best shots live, but we'll have tape replay going for all of the other cameras that we have. So if what you don't see when the Kingdome does go down, we have it on tape replay, so stick with us.
You're looking at the top of the dome the last time you're going to see that, and it's all wrapped in a special material so that when the dome does blow, pieces of the rubble don't go up and get loose. They go down inside the building. The compression ring is supposed to collapse inside the Kingdome, and the ramps just simply fall down, so that the rubble, such as it is, will be inside that perimeter area. That's what you're going to expect to see. We've got 3 minutes left, and in 1 minute you're going to hear a warning siren, and then it's going to get quiet.
Jack, would you like to say a few words, please?
It's going to get quiet, and then we're going to take the audio inside the dome.
Thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us. Now we thank you for a superb crew of CDI and the good contractors that we're working for, and we ask now that you'll give us a good job. No one will get injured, and if it's your will, no property damage. And we just thank you for your goodness and grace in Jesus' name. Amen.
And so the Turner roof and the roof of the 76 station are now clear.
Thank you. We're going to try to proceed with things. Please hook up the blasting machine. When you're hooked up. Jack Loazzo, would you like to say a prayer, Dad? Pretty did. I'll say more if you like. Sure, that's fine, Pop.
We've taken the clock out of the scene because we're waiting.
Okay.
We're waiting for the 2-minute warning. We'll hear two 2-second blasts. That will indicate that we're 2 minutes away from the dome implosion.
CDI, we're giving our 2-minute siren. CDI DVs should be running. CDI DV cameras should be running. You read that, Jack?
About to hear the big
Copy
siren
that.
now.
Kevin? Sullivan? Jason? Please.
2-minute siren.
Do you have a good, clear visual of the tracks? Affirmative.
We're waiting right along with you.
Clear.
You're hearing the all clear from all the audio at Turner Construction and CDI.
Gene, I'm looking at the dome. I can't believe this thing's not going to be here in 2 minutes.
I can't believe we're so close to it.
I can't believe how loud it's going to be.
up here.
You have a good imagination?
Yes, I do.
That was your 2 minutes.
Not good enough, we're told. 100-mile-an-hour winds generated by the implosion at the dome.
67 million cubic yards of air
Are
in the
you
dome.
clear?
Last
Clear.
shot inside the dome is it's
Devin,
still
are
standing.
you clear?
Clear.
You're getting the all clear
Clear.
from everybody in and around the dome.
Jamie, are you clear? Clear. Jesse, are you clear? Doug, are you clear? Clear. Jason, are you clear?
Everybody here is securing their
Kevin, are
equipment,
you clear?
wrapping their
Clear.
cameras, covering their
Jimmy, are
ears.
you clear? Clear. Will, are you clear? Clear. Cass, are you clear? Clear. You clear?
Clear.
Clear. 1 minute siren, CDI. This is your 1 minute siren.
Weird event.
Stacy, warm up the blasting machine and tell me when you're in the red.
We're in the red, Jim.
Look at all the helicopters.
we go, CDI 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Oh, my goodness.
That is absolutely the most unbelievable thing I have ever seen.
And it did as everyone predicted it would do. It caved into itself.
We're watching all the people from First and Goal and Turner Construction give each other big hugs. Absolutely an unbelievable scene. It wasn't as loud as I thought.
I thought it was pretty loud.
It was.
Up here on our platform, it did shake. You can definitely feel the explosions.
Definitely. Our feet were shaking, and I could feel myself shake inside.
You know, as I was watching it, Gene, I heard first you hear the crackle of the detonation cord. There's actually a commercial plane flying over the dome right now.
Absolutely an unbelievable sight to see a completely functional building turn to dust in 15 seconds. Unbelievable feeling to be here and watch this happen. Absolutely unbelievable. We're about to be inundated by this cloud that's sort of coming our way.
You know, that cloud is moving so very slowly, but you could definitely see the dust and debris being blown down Occidental.
I got to tell
Safeco.
you better take a good look at us now, because I don't think you're going to be able to see us in about 10 minutes.
Hey,
Let's
Gene
go to
and
Linda
Dennis.
Brill, who's up in the Columbia Tower.
Oh my goodness, this is an amazing picture to see as this dust cloud spreads out. There are people down below us on the street who had a perfectly great view of the implosion, and now they are walking and running very quickly to get away from the dust cloud. We saw a lot of people that had hard hats on, and it's good that they did. Unbelievable picture from here. You were here from Mount St. Helens. We remember this huge dust cloud that's poured over the Northwest. It's reminiscent of that. A lot of people running away from the dust. And what a boom and a shake we felt up here at the building, the Columbia Tower Club. It took about 2 to 3 seconds after the implosion, and then we felt everybody in here just hopped with kind of a
I just want to let you know,
jolt
if
of
you
our
come
own.
to us, we're ready to show you. I mean, you can't see.
Are you in the dust there, Gene and Dennis?
No, we're not in the dust yet, Linda, but you know, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we're all right.
We can see nothing but dust, and then the top of the Columbia Tower.
You can see us.
We can barely see where you are, and this dust is coming right to us.
Well, the dust
Alyssa
cloud
Hahn
is
is
now
in the dust now. Alyssa.
Hi, Gene. Sorry, it's going to be kind of hard to even look at you at this point. We got dust all around us. I don't know if you can see my jacket. It's in my hair. These folks right here are, I'm going to bring my mask down for a brief second so you can hear me, are hiding beneath a tarp that they brought. It really came at us. It was just amazing to see. A bunch of folks were all bellied up against this barricade here, and people pretty much ran right away. I know there's some folks here who aren't wearing any kind of masks or any kind of protective eyewear that are doing okay, but we did have a few people that were a little caught off guard by it. Not only did the noise catch us off guard, but of course that dust cloud, which has really been the big thing we have. I'm going to show you what we got underneath here. I think it's Michelle, who's from Bainbridge Island, is underneath here with her dad. Folks bringing their sweatshirts up to their faces. It was really something pretty amazing to see. Richard, if you can pan down to the ground and you can see right there, I'm going to come around with you where you are here. It's just so you can get an idea of what this dust looks like. It is just all over the place, all over the folks down here. We cannot even see the sky. Richard, go ahead and pan up and you can see a little bit of blue there. But outside of that, that's about it. We are completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, it is. It's getting
with this dust.
It's getting very close to us. It's moving in the direction where we are. It's a good thing it's not a windy day, I can tell you that. And it would have been a better thing if it was a little bit rainy, because the dust is going up and it's going out. It seems to be mostly headed west from where the Kingdome is, but Lisa Cohen, our producer, made a good point. We don't really know if the dome is down because all we can see is this impenetrable cloud of dust. But we can tell you we saw stripes of the explosives go down the ribs of the top of the dome. And you could see the ribs explode, and then you could see the ramps explode, and then you couldn't see the dome anymore, and you could see just this mountainous cloud of thick, impenetrable, sort of yellow-gray dust.
You know what was amazing, as you can see the explosions go up the columns and across the roof, and just for one moment you think, is it actually going to fall? And then all at once it just started to collapse into itself and pull the sides in, and it went off just as advertised by the implosion people. We're not in the dust. You can smell the dust here. You get just the smell of it, but there's no film of dust anywhere south of the Kingdome, with the wind blowing basically north.
We believe this implosion was likely successful, but we don't have visual proof of that because we can't see anything about the dome anymore.
Just beginning beyond the exhibition hall from where we are, at the base of the dome, we can begin to see some of the wreckage.
We can see rubble scattered around the perimeter of the dome. You can see
they're actually
people
workers getting out
moving
there
in
now.
there already. Yep, you can see debris from the implosion. You can see the streets filled with broken pieces of concrete. You can see some dumpsters overturned. You can see what looks here to be like the small top of a piece of earth-moving equipment that might have blown off that earth-moving equipment.
Now, as we look down Occidental, KJ, if you can pan your camera just above the exhibition hall to the right, you can begin to see what's left of the Kingdome. This is incredible. This is the first signs. This is just unbelievable.
It is just absolutely incredible, and amazingly enough, though we can see nothing of the dome and nothing in a whole block area around the dome, we can see what looks like 2 inches of the top of the Bank of America tower. We can just see the satellite dishes off the top of the tower, and even that now is about to be obscured by this impenetrable dust cloud. The shot I'm waiting to see is when the dust gets thin enough that we can actually see if there's a dome there at all.
It looks like, I see one, looks like a big piece of giant rebar that must be 30 feet, 40 feet tall, just sticking up. Darren Watkins is in Pioneer Square as well.
What
Darren.
can you see, Darren?
Well, we can't see very much. Right after the explosion happened, a large cloud sort of took over the area, turned daylight into night. The first thing we noticed was chunks of what looks like some insulation to come flying off and really filled the street. There's a large powder you can see pretty much all over the area. In fact, this is the kind of stuff that we see. This is the larger pieces of what was flying all the way from the Kingdome, which is about 4 blocks away. It filled the air with dust, and it's starting to thin out just a little bit. Just a few folks that were here in the dust as well, saying that they expected to see quite the fireworks and they were excited to see the dome. But then all of a sudden, a lot of blinking eyes and things like that because of all of the powder that has covered the area. You can see it's almost about a whole quarter of an inch, rather dusty here, that's sort of covered everything. And we are told that that is a fine dust from a lot of the concrete, and that if folks get it on their cars here, they shouldn't try to wipe it off because it can scratch, and in fact, they should just try to hose it off. But it's still pretty dark. We're waiting for the cloud to clear right now and see just what we can see of what's left of the Kingdome.
Oh, Darren, it's absolutely incredible. The dust has lifted, and we can see the ribs of the dome that were on the roof are now on the ground. The dome is down. The dome is done. The dust is gone.
Let's go to King5's Jim Foreman up in Sky King. Can't wait to see that picture, Jim.
Yeah, incredible, Dennis. We felt the concussion of the dome going down up in the air. It was spectacular. And look at that picture now. Our first look at the dome as it has been reduced to dust. Looks just like all the drawings and all the animations they had. It just fell in on itself. It is just a spectacular piece of demolition engineering to bring down the dome, just like they said, collapsing on itself. Now, the other story is the dust. There is a thick coating of dust all over the area immediately around the dome to the north. The dust cloud is to the southern edge of downtown. We have not seen any signs of damage of broken windows or anything in the other buildings. We'll keep an eye on that. Traffic now just starting to flow again. I'm Jim Foreman live in Sky King over what used to be the dome.
Jim, it's absolutely unbelievable. The dust has lifted, and we got the first shot of the rubble here. And as you look over the new exhibition center, and then you look to what's the beginning of the new construction that Paul Allen has started, where the stadium is going to be, you can now see the ribs that used to be on the roof of the Kingdome laying horizontally on the ground, and you can see piles of rubble. The dome's gone. The dust is gone.
You know,
the dome is no more. It's
looking
done.
at the Sky King shot, it looks just like the animation we had
exactly
prior
it
to
was
the
supposed
implosion.
to be. Exactly.
And it looks like they said there would be about 60 feet, the columns remaining about 60 feet high. Some of them maybe, but I think it flattened even more. Here's some of the
Absolutely
replays.
unbelievable. This is what happened. This is the replay of the implosion that went off exactly as scheduled at 8:30 this morning. And they told us how the explosive devices were lining the ribs of the dome, and we could see the ribs become electrified. It looked like giant firecrackers, and you could see the ribs just explode and then start to disappear. And we didn't have visual proof that the dome was gone until the dust
goes. It's just sitting there, and you wonder, is it going to go? And there it goes.
Absolutely unbelievable. And the place where we were shook. You could hear this tremendous ongoing explosion. And everybody here just said, awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. A
Margaret
building
and
totally
Paul,
functional, blown to dust.
Margaret and Paul up at Harborview, what was it like up there?
You know, we could actually see this just exactly as you described it, just like our animation showed it, with the explosions going up, the ribs of this whole thing just falling down, and then it disappeared behind this cloud of dust that is just now catching up with us. But you are right, that is one of the most amazing things I have ever seen.
Saw a couple of seagulls up there, you know, up along the ridge of the Kingdome. Everybody here was like, those poor seagulls, they don't know what's going to happen.
That's not good news for
I think
them.
they got out in time, though, just for you environmentalists. They're okay.
But still, here all the way over across I-5, it was really loud, and you could feel just a little vibration, not what you guys have felt over there at Safeco, but an incredible sight. Lori and Alan are standing by at Jose Rizal Park, I believe, and I'd be interested to hear what they have to say.
Gene and Dennis, it was absolutely fantastic from this point of view. If I didn't have an automatic shutter, and I should have had, because I only squeezed off, I think, one picture of the dome standing with the explosions going off, and then it was just a dust cloud.
Yeah, it sure went down in a hurry, and the perspective that we had, the dome was just a little piece of the whole big picture here, and very surreal to see the crackling fireworks on top of the dome, and all of a sudden, ka-whoomp, it's gone, and that cloud just surging into downtown from the south. Very wild. Want to bring in, as we look at replays, want to bring in Lynn Perkins and Nicholas Rousseau. Lynn, as you watch that thing, as a Seattle native, right? What did you think?
It's kind of an engineering miracle going up and coming down, and here's to Jack Christensen, who designed the original thing.
All right, cheers to Jack Christensen. Also, Lynn Perkins, describe what was going through your head. The dome just got wiped out in about 17 seconds.
Yeah, it was. It kind of crumpled. I've seen a couple of things come down. It was a little different than I expected. I'm kind of sad about it. I'm an engineer and a preservationist, and I think it's kind of a sad reflection at the moment on our society that we choose to blow up a building like that.
And engineers absolutely love this thing. This was a tremendous work, wasn't it?
It was an incredible feat of engineering, and I think what's going back up is probably not going to nearly marvel at, but. Architecturally, it left something to be desired. So,
all right, some sadness here, Lori.
One other note, I think it's interesting. People in downtown have to be careful. I don't think they can see on those streets, 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue, even 3rd. That cloud is definitely drifting into downtown. So if you're on the streets or planning to be on the streets, don't go there yet. Don't go there yet.
Also, tremendous cheer here on the bridge. We didn't feel the concussion actually from the building itself. But you can feel this bridge going a little bit as people just let up a huge cheer from here and on the hillside down to our left, just southeast of the dome. We should tell you now, traffic is moving east on I-90 now. No traffic yet on I-5. What was that? Okay, no traffic. The highways are clear still and will be for a little bit, a little while, as we take the opportunity to show you more examples of the Kingdome's 24-year life ending in a matter of seconds. Pretty amazing. It just didn't seem real from here.
It didn't seem real, and like I said, if you blinked at the wrong time, you might actually miss it. But it did seem that all the explosions went up the ribs and the columns as planned, the roof came down, and then came the huge dust cloud. Things are beginning to break up here at the 12th Avenue Street Bridge. As people go about getting breakfast, going on home, going to church, whatever they plan to do. But I tell you, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it's time to just get on with another Sunday, isn't it? Sort of odd. Here we were waiting for hours. It's over. It's done. As one woman just told me, flushed. The Kingdome is gone. Let's take it back to you, Dennis, Gene.
All right, Alan, Lori, thank you. I got to say, my reaction as I look at this pile of rubble and the twisted rebar, and KJ's going to give you a shot of what what's left of the dome looks like. It's a funny feeling that I have because this building was only 25 years old, and it worked. Everything in the dome worked. And Crablui, you blow it up and it's gone to make way for something very similar in terms of function, a little different in terms of design, but it didn't suit the community's needs apparently, and so away it goes.
It's
and
flat as a pancake.
It's a very funny scene to see, and the enthusiasm that the people who are in charge of blowing it up felt for demolishing a building, and the cheers that went up from this platform, it was just a funny feeling seeing people thrilled to this destruction.
It is strange to see it is as flat as a pancake right now, or as flat as it can be. You can see a lot of dust on the roof of the King Street Station.
I can feel some of the dust now in my nose and throat.
I'm looking down Occidental, and and a lot of the workers there are probably checking for peripheral damage on the businesses and the buildings that line Occidental. And you got to believe there may be some because of you can see very small chunks of concrete. I'm looking at the FX McCrory's building, and I'm looking at windows to see if any had been blown out. I don't see any blown out at this time.
I'm looking at the Amtrak train station covered in dust. I mean,
Yes.
You couldn't see the clock tower at the train station, and the roof and the windows of the train station are covered in dust. Jim Foreman he's got a clear shot. It's probably not dusty, and it probably wasn't quite as noisy where you, right, Jim?
Oh, yeah, but we heard it and definitely felt it. There's what's left of the Kingdome. Now let's pull out, talk about the dust cloud. It is now kind of drifting to the north and to the east. It is now up over First Hill, the hospitals, and it is taller than the Bank of America Tower, and it is drifting also into the southern end of downtown. So we still have a thick dust cloud here, and it is drifting very slowly. Traffic is still being held at a standstill on I-5. I-90 starting to reopen again. So that's where you can see. We're just drifting now over Pill Hill now, First Hill, and the dust cloud seems to be moving this way, so close those windows. Back down to you guys.
Well, thank heaven for that little southerly breeze, because it's blowing the dust away from us and blowing it into downtown Seattle, so drive very carefully. And the roads are still closed in some of the areas around here, so drive with caution if you're headed into town. We have an infrared shot of what happened inside the Kingdome. We understand it's very cool, and we want to show it to you now.
This is from Jose Rizal Park.
This is a replay as the dome goes down. It's an infrared shot. All right, so you're seeing what we saw.
There's your light show. There's your fireworks.
And there's your dome, folks.
There's the New Year's Eve celebration, as some people have said.
That was the replay. See, that's why the sign says replay. It was a replay of the New Year's Eve you didn't have.
I think that's one I want to see again. I'm sure we'll see it again. We'll have to rack it up.
There we go. There we go. The infrared instant replay from Jose Rizal Bridge up on Beacon Hill. And there's what it looks like now as the dust lifts.
We're expecting in just a couple of minutes a press conference with Tom Gerlach from Turner Construction, and assuming that he'll be up here to give us an update to pronounce the implosion a success. Also, we would hope to hear about any of the peripheral damage to the buildings and the businesses just immediately adjacent to the Kingdome. Again, it's not readily apparent if there is any. We don't see any windows broken from this vantage point, but that's not to say that there aren't a couple of broken windows somewhere in the immediate vicinity.
Well, there's a lot of dust. We can see that from here. And there's rubble scattered on Occidental, and we can see a lot of the people who are allowed inside the perimeter just kind of walking around, moving stuff out of the way. We haven't seen any earth-moving equipment go in there and start scooping stuff up, or street sweeping equipment getting rid of the dust. But I can tell you, I can feel it. I can feel the dust in the back of my throat and feel the dust in the back of my nose, even though the biggest part of the cloud is now moved north of here towards Smith Tower and towards First, Second, and the Viaduct. That's the direction in which the wind is taking the dust now. The dust cloud is largely dissipating. Didn't take long. I mean, it was 10 minutes, and the most of that big dust cloud had left the dome and moved towards
Pioneer
downtown.
Square is readily visible from our vantage point right now. As we think about what just happened, it took just a matter of about 20 seconds as the dome is reduced to dust. Well, it's reduced to dust, and it's reduced to big chunks of concrete as we watch the replay.
And it's going to
take... This is really an amazing scene.
It is absolutely amazing. It was a strange, strange feeling just standing here watching this tremendous destruction, implosion,
what is left of
deconstruction.
what is left of the side of the Kingdome, it will take about another 4 months to grind those large pieces of concrete down to manageable size to be carted away or used as fill for the new stadium.
Well, Bob Collier of First and Goal told us in an interview earlier this morning he wished he could have just floated it up and taken out the sound and dropped it in there rather than imploding it and creating all this dust and rubble, but that wasn't meant to be. I sort of wish they could have floated it up and given it to a city that wanted a covered stadium.
I tell you, the people with the demolition company must be awfully proud of themselves because they advertised that it would just cave in on itself, and as we saw, until the dust took over the picture, it did exactly that.
The guy from Controlled Demolition, Mark Loazo, said that his daughter Stacy is very sought after because she has such a fun job. Kids are always writing her and saying, we love you, we want your job. Because you get paid for doing what we'd love to do, which is blow stuff up. Very cool.
That's the scene from Elliott Bay. John Curley is on one of the Argosy boats and witnessed what you are now seeing.
Yes, Gene, Dennis. I think it was me saying, "Oh my God!" It was really interesting how the sound traveled across the sound. The Kingdome was, of course, known for having probably some of the worst sound. If you've ever been to any concert there, many musicians had difficult times being heard, and it's ironic, I guess, but somewhat appropriate that the last few seconds of the Kingdome, it would take us almost 5 seconds to hear the blast out here on board the MV Kirkland. And you know what? In the time it has taken for the Kingdome to come down, I have perfected, Gene and Dennis, the recreation here. Does everybody on board want to see this thing go? Here we go. Are you ready, Kev? Here we go. Give me a countdown from 3. 3, 2, 1. There we go! All right! Finally! That's a Gold Bond medicated powder, Gene and Dennis, that might be blowing its way over towards you. And Dennis, I know you might need a little bit of that. You're a very active guy.
Well, thank you, John. We've got plenty of it over here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, the dome has turned to dust, folks, right here before your very eyes. And now even the dust is gone. And all we're seeing is rubble and rebar. That's what's left of the Kingdome.
You know, we at our vantage spot, if you look into Safeco Field and you just engage in conversation with our colleagues there, and you turn around and look where the dome used to be, and it just doesn't seem to be real.
It isn't there. No, it doesn't seem that it really happened. And it happened so fast, you have to ask yourself, is the dome really gone? The dome's gone, and it's turned to dust and rebar, and the dust is gone. It's gone up to Harborview, understand, where Paul Sylvia and Margaret Larson are standing by.
Quite right. It looks like it's snowing here. I don't know if you can see all the particles in the air. I just took my glasses off and I'm looking around at a whole crowd full of people holding cloth over their noses and mouths. This stuff smells bad. I don't know what that is exactly that we're smelling. And the particles are a pretty good size. As you were reminded before, if it lands on your car or anything else important to you, it should be rinsed off rather than wiped off because these particles are a little bit sharp. And it's obscured the sun, gone completely over the Bank of America building, past Harborview and on over First Hill. It's nasty stuff. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Margaret. It's probably not healthful for the people who are staying at Harborview for the recuperation either. So hopefully the dust blows away pretty soon and it doesn't leave any damage behind. But boy, there's just a whole lot of damage where the Kingdome used to be, and parts of it are going to have to be chopped up further before they're hauled away because there are huge chunks of the Kingdome left. It's not just dust; they're huge chunks of what used to be the Kingdome. Some of the ribs that you can see that are not completely demolished, and some of the walls and the ramps, you can make out very, very large chunks of debris that will have to be pulverized before it's hauled away as dust.
Part of what we're seeing down on Occidental, a lot of workers in safety vests, and they're going to be checking the utility lines. There's quite a number of gas and electric and water lines down under Occidental. They were checked prior to the implosion, and they're being checked out right now. So the gas people and the power people are there just in case anything has gone wrong. But by what we see from this vantage point, everything seems to have come off without a hitch, and there are apparently no utility problems anywhere near.
And even the construction that's already begun on the new stadium is standing. You can see a tower with the scaffolding going up the side, and that all seems to be intact, and that's part of Paul Allen's new construction for the new stadium. And the old stadium's gone. The construction company people are going to hold a press conference in just a few minutes, and Tom Gerlach is going to talk to us. And it'll be interesting to get from their point of view whether the demolition was as successful as it appears from this vantage point to have been.
Well, that's the company that took out the $100 million insurance policy, so they have a great stake in what happened today. And we're just about ready to hear from Mr. Gerlach.
Turn the tables and do a little video of you guys.
All right, he's got his camera. He said he was going to do a little video.
Let me say this right
Here's
from the
Tom
beginning when
Gerlach
everybody
of the
saw on
construction
TV.
company.
I think I now know how Mike Holmgren and the Seahawks are going to feel when you win the Super Bowl. It is without question a great day for the team and a great day for the city. And I want to start right from the beginning and thank all the cooperation we had from all the city departments, county departments, state departments. Fantastic coordination, excellent command center structure, and wanted to talk just a minute about where we are in terms of moving the site along. And Mark will be here in about, I hope, 10 or 15 minutes to talk about the actual shot itself. We had a textbook implosion. Everything went exactly as we had hoped. We have very little, as far as I could tell, debris outside the footprint. Certainly, high 90s, 99% perhaps, right where we wanted it. I came down First Avenue. We have some fireproofing material out there that's very light and got blown with the dust. I didn't see any concrete whatsoever on First. The cover, the initial assessments of the cover on Occidental was also excellent. And, basically everything went exactly as we planned. The process now, as you know, is that we're taking a look at the rubble, which is actually very flat. And pretty soon CDI will be turning the site over to Amman. And we are still in a command center structure where Jim Santoro from CDI and the police department and the fire department, which is the lead agency, are controlling the perimeter and also access to the site itself. We're starting cleanup immediately. We have quite a lot of people here, a small army of equipment and personnel. We're going to work from the outside in. As soon as the dust gets completely dissipated, we'll start cleaning up. I do have a couple of reports of broken windows. As you know, our office is right across the street, and we're in a renovated 1910 building. And we did have a couple of windows crack. And Tom from the landlord has already called me, and we're going to send a cleanup crew. With that, I'll take any questions. I think, I don't know about you, but when we talked about choreography for the last 3 months, and those ribs went right across your vision, it was exactly as we had hoped it would go. And certainly are looking forward now to continuing construction on the stadium itself. I drove as slowly as I could. I couldn't come down Occidental because it was closed off, but I came down First. And certainly the southwest stair tower, which is our new stadium, looked great. The exhibition center looked great. I did see some blown cover off, which is not unusual, the geotextile fabric line in the street, one of the parking lots. But the early assessment of Occidental was great. We're in good shape. And Mark has walked up and down Occidental, so when he gets here, he'll give you a first-hand report.
Could you describe your own emotions, like when the countdown went silent, and then when you saw the direction that it appeared to be going, just inside, describe the feeling.
Well, it's definitely indescribable. You could see first the charges, exactly as Mark and Stacy and Doug had promised us. Everything was in rhythm. Everything was absolutely sequenced. And then all of a sudden you realize that the building was coming down very fast. And then the next thing you know, the dust cloud is coming right at you. And I saw the Turner sign flapping in the breeze, going at about 30 miles an hour, about 200 feet away. So it was perfect.
Were you surprised at all about the quantity of dust? That was perhaps what was most striking from here. We were all warned about dust, but there was a tremendous amount of dust in the air. It obscured it pretty quickly. More or less dust than you expected?
It's about what I expected. As you remember, on the day we announced the date, I said if you were at ground level, what you would see was dust. That is exactly what I saw. It was dust. And all I can remember, actually, is the ribs going, because after that it was dust. So it's really just what we expected. And with all that rubble inside, which is, crushed concrete already, that has dust as well. So when the upper deck hit, we also had a reaction from the pile. A little more fireproofing came out. There is some structural steel in the dome, and we lost the fireproofing. It's very fibrous, but it'll clean up quite easy. Basically, ducked out of the way of the dust, and then the CDI spotter started reporting in that it was a very flat structure, that everything looked good. Within about 45 seconds, we had an assessment. We were in good shape. Railroad was clear. Occidental looked clear. And that's where we are right now, to tell you the truth. It's a lot flatter than I thought it was. Coming down first, I didn't see anything over 50 feet, but the dust cloud was still there. And my guess is that Amman will start moving some rubble today if they can. If we get it all clear, they have all their people here, there's no other damage, we'll start working today.
Talk a minute about the goals you have for businesses around here. How soon do you think that these businesses, do you think they'll be open for the restaurants around here will be open for lunch? And how soon do you think you'll actually make a dent in what's left in the rubble there?
First of all, our first focus is to look for damage and to make sure that everything is okay. We've started our engineering teams to go down and check all the buildings that we surveyed in advance. We have some old buildings there. We're going to be very careful and do that very thoroughly. At the same time, the cleanup will start. We're certainly going to concentrate on the ID in Pioneer Square, get the dust out of the street, reopen streets. We want to get those restaurants open for lunch, and I think we'll be able to do it.
And the rubble will be a matter of months,
The rubble will take, 3 to 4 months, but if I know Rich Riggs from Amman, if his crews have nothing to do today, I bet he's going to go to work today and start moving it around. We have pile driving crews coming in next week to start filling in the empty piles, which we've already drilled on the south side. And on the north side, we'll start driving piles probably within a week to 10 days. So we're ready to go. Yeah, we have Amman's people are going around, and also the engineering people are going around to make sure that the buildings are safe. That'll go on for several hours. And as soon as we can get people back into their buildings on Occidental, we will. But first, we have to look for extra cracks and anything that might happen. Look at window damage. If the cover has not been blown off, we have to take the cover off. So we got a lot of work to do. I'm hoping Mark does. It went a lot faster for where I was than I thought it would. But mostly once I saw the geometry going in a perfect sequence, I knew we were fine. Someone had a question over here. Yeah. It's always exciting, and most of what we do is to build buildings, and in fact I haven't seen that many implosions, and it's absolutely exciting. And the CDI personnel, Ray was quite jumpy, and Ray is not a jumpy person, and the relief is palpable at the end. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. But when you start to see a building of that size start to fall and then come towards you, it's pretty amazing. I think it's the same feeling for everybody.
Implosion. So everything went as scheduled, according to them. In fact, they said the Kingdome flattened out more than they thought it would.
Yeah, he said he drove by and didn't see anything more than 50 feet high. I thought it was really interesting. He began by saying he knows how Mike Holmgren and the Seahawks would feel if they won a Super Bowl, because he said this was kind of a Super Bowl of implosions. He was really, really happy about how it went today.
I was looking at the Alaskan Way Viaduct, and just a couple of moments ago, the viaduct has been closed for quite a while, but a couple of motorcycle police officers were going back and forth. You can see the dust kicked up by the motorcycles, so
yeah.
Quite a bit of dust. I couldn't tell you how thick it is, but enough to kick up quite a bit of it as a rooster tail.
Well,
They'll probably have to clean that off.
I can tell you, as we stand here about a block away from what used to be the Kingdome, the dust didn't come in this direction, but I could feel it in the back of my nose and in my throat. It's just a lot of particles in the air, and everywhere downtown, no matter where you are, it's going to be dusty, and the dust has a little bite to it, a little cut to it, and there's a little smell in the air that's wasn't here before. But the feeling of watching this building go down and watching everybody celebrate the destruction of this huge building was the strangest thing I think I've ever seen. The exuberance at destruction was quite amazing. And I think no matter how you felt about the Kingdome, the power, just the raw power of seeing this explosion, I think was something that everybody was just in awe about.
I still look back to where the Kingdome's supposed to be and can't believe it's not there, and all the things that you can see now that you could not see from this vantage point just a short while ago. It is just unbelievable to think that a structure that was so important to this city's history,
is
a
gone.
structure that contains so many memories for sports fans, baseball fans, basketball fans, football fans, not to mention all of the other ancillary events that occurred in that structure in 24 years, are now nothing but memories, and the building is no longer.
And not to get too poetic about it, but it just is a reminder of anything that you hold really dear, you got to hold inside you, because the photographs could evaporate, the building as the Kingdome could evaporate, but whatever it is that's really dear to you, you've got to have a good memory, and you've got to hold it inside you, because that's where you carry it on.
Let's go to Chris Ingles. Chris, where are you reporting from? Tell us.
Seattle's International District, Dennis. I think we've renamed it now the Dust Zone, because take a look right next to me here. You can see this car probably about 3/4 of a mile away, and there's just dust all over the thing. It's covered, as much of the International District and downtown part of Seattle are right now. A couple of implosion watchers with us here. Chris, what'd you think when that thing went up?
Oh man, it was intense. My knees were shaking, and the dust was coming, and I was tasting it. It was freaky. It was awesome though. I loved it.
As you said earlier, your first taste of the Kingdome, really.
Yeah, I know. I thought the hot dogs tasted bad. It's like these things. Oh man, it was awesome. We got it all on tape too. Good. I loved it. It was awesome.
Great. A couple of high school photographers shooting it for a local cable access channel. Shane, what'd you think when it went up?
Pretty exciting. It was awesome. And then it wasn't even over once it all went down. Then all the dust came up, and it was this big black gray cloud. It started coming down, looked like it was snowing. It's pretty cool.
And we're all going to go to the dry cleaners after this. And I know that the fellow that's the owner of this car, he thought he did a good job parking close, but not only does he got to clean the jacket, he's got to go to the car wash as well. So that's the downside of coming down to watch the implosion. Gene Dennis, let's go back to you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you. It was many years in the building, this Kingdome, many years in the wrangling stage, and 20 seconds to get rid of it. So it just confirms what everybody says. It's pretty tough to build something, and it's pretty easy to tear it down, they say.
And now we have to clean up and get the city back to normal. A couple of things the Department of Transportation has to do. They wanted to check the viaduct structural integrity. They didn't think anything would happen because of the dome implosion, but just to be on the safe side, that's part of what they're doing today. They're also checking the 4th Avenue ramp, which is very close to what used to be the dome, but that was built and completed just a couple of years ago, but that was built to withstand earthquakes of quite great magnitude.
There was one jet that went through the dust just seconds after the implosion, and I think we ought to find out what airplane, what airline that was, and what the pilots and the crew were saying to the passengers on that plane about just how lucky they were to be in this dusty part of history, to take to the air and fly right through that dust just seconds after the building imploded. I mean, it must have been very strange, because they couldn't see anything out of that plane.
Here's the traffic on I-5. I-90 is just about ready to be opened, as well as 520 westbound. In fact, Claudia Cornish is with us. Claudia?
From the Department of Transportation. Claudia, what can you tell us about how traffic is moving now and is going to move?
We do still have our freeways closed, but we're getting ready to reopen them any minute, and that includes north and southbound I-5, westbound I-90 as far as I-5.
Right, I-5 is open, we understand. We're watching some of the traffic moving
good.
Already.
Yeah, and but we're still going to keep westbound I-90 closed for the time being between I-5 and the touchdown here in downtown. And westbound 520 is reopened as well.
What about the viaduct?
The viaduct, we're still waiting for clearance to have our bridge inspectors go take a look at it.
And how long will that be?
The inspections themselves will take about 20 minutes, but we're not sure exactly when that will reopen yet.
I noticed on the viaduct there was a certain amount of dust that motorcycle police officers were kicking up. Would that be a problem?
My understanding is that there is going to be a sweeping that goes on to clean that off before they reopen to traffic. So I don't have an estimated reopening right now for that highway.
When Tom Gerlach was talking, he said I-90 is 99% where we want it. What's the other 1%? Was there a problem?
No, our bridge inspectors just need to go in there and take a look at that 4th Avenue bridge structure before we reopen it to traffic, and they're in the process of looking at that right now.
That probably has quite a bit of dust on it anyway.
It's possible.
All right, Claudia Cornish from the Department of Transportation. Thanks so much.
Claudia.
Glad everything went well road-wise because it could have been a concern had there been any damage. And as we've been saying, this whole area is built on fill, the viaduct in particular, which is why it has not opened yet because they want a few minutes to inspect it, make sure there's no damage. And we can see there's not a bit of traffic moving on the viaduct right now, but everything else moving on the waterfront. And traffic now moving on I-5 and I-90.
Yeah, all those seismometers placed around, 200 seismometers placed around the Seattle area. What happened in just 20 seconds, they will take about a year to analyze all that data, to analyze the Seattle fault. And perhaps what happened today and the readings they get from those particular pieces of equipment will give scientists, geologists a better understanding of where the Seattle fault is and what kinds of pressures that it can withstand or what it might do in the event of an earthquake in this area.
I guess then we should explain the Seattle fault is the crack that runs through the Puget Sound area into Seattle and the part that's felt as being most vulnerable should we have an earthquake.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to look at a number of different pictures of the implosion of the Kingdome. Right. The people from Controlled Demolitions are about to talk about how, from their point of view, they felt the demolition went. In the meantime, we're going to give you a view of the Kingdome and what's left of it. As the Kingdome came down exactly on schedule at 8:30 this morning, just about 25 years after it was built, and down to the minute.